Hey there, SCP fans. My name is Grigori Karpin, and this is Simply Creative People, the show about SCP creatives, be they authors, artists, or offsite content creators like YouTube and TikTok. We're focused on bridging the gap between various fans and serving as an introduction to different concepts and stories on the wiki. So, many welcomes to all, and let's get started. Okay, so
Nice.
Welcome to another episode of Simply Creative People. This is episode 14, and we're going to be talking about the Chicago Spirit.
Yes, the best GUI.
That's right. I haven't even introduced you yet, and you're already talking. You're the worst guest.
I can't shut up.
This is who he is.
So, Grigori Karpin, and...
Say hello to my hairy blank.
Yes, nice. And our lovely guest.
ROUNDERHOUSE.
That's right. With the enthusiasm of a god.
Yeah,
Oh, God.
I'm deigning you with my presence.
That's right. You are. This is good. I wouldn't really want to have anybody else on for this
Aww.
GUI.
What about Storm
I mean-
Breath? Jeez.
Oh, yeah, Stormbreath. But I kind of want Stormbreath.
We can't have
If we ever
Stormbreath
go
and
back
me on for the same podcast for Chicago Spirit because we have such vastly differing interpretations of the GUI. It's like it's basically two different things.
Right.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun. I like collaborate with his and he collaborates with mine and it's good.
But yeah, before we get into it very far, I know you've been, a member of the wiki for a long-ass time. You had been for years before I joined. So how did you discover, SCP?
It's the anticlimactic boring answer, but I honestly don't remember.
They're all anticlimactic boring.
Yeah,
answers,
this is
don't worry.
particularly, I don't remember what I got. I do remember that the first article I read was this really, not good Series 1. Which one was it? I think it's 499? Or,
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, it's a number.
it's Series 2, it's 1499. The gas mask, and I was like, what the fuck is this?
Oh, yeah, I have.
This is it's bad, it's poorly written, but it still remains a favorite of mine because it was the first thing I read, and I was like, what the fuck, this is so fucking creepy. And now I'm like, this is ass. I downvote this. Red light.
So the first thing I read was something by Metaphysician, which is why I like all that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was the first thing I read.
Shocking
It's why
no one.
That's why I came to the wiki, was to read about weird eldritch horror type stuff. So it makes sense why Sarcasm is the thing.
Yeah.
But the second thing, and just because I went to the main page and was like, I don't know, let me just look through the things. Whatever that big event was where it was Clef trying to kill the little girl who thought she was a wizard.
Oh,
And,
Duke Tilden.
Oh, it's the precipitating one, kind of. It's Incident Clef
It's not
Kondaraki.
Duke Tilda. Yeah. Where a whole bunch of different people collaborate. Each little part of it is written by someone totally different, and it's just a mess. And it's referring to all these characters like you already know who they are.
Yeah,
and I was just like, I don't know what the fuck is going on, and I almost was like, I don't think I want to read this.
Yeah,
anymore.
I had a similar reaction when reading that article.
Not that I thought that it was bad necessarily. In fact, I think it's kind of fun, this huge collaborative thing written by 10, 15 different people, but.
I like it
it
for the
was
meta aspect of it, but the story itself
Yes.
is I'm not a fan of this.
Yeah, but I'm not really a fan of the LOL Foundation stuff. in
Yeah,
general,
I
so.
mean, yeah.
Ip did an angry rewrite of it where he just replaces all of Crow's dialogue with woof and shit just because he was so mad about it.
I've just avoided playing with that sector of Kondraki and Clef, and I'm I don't give a shit about any of these people.
I didn't think I did either, and then starting to use Clef as a pincushion for the representation of all the things wrong with early Foundation has been really fun, and I can't help but try to make him an actual character.
I do love meta commentary.
Yeah, because I only included him at the end of 6500 to be okay, we need somebody from that era. Who better than Clef? We'll just make him show up and be an asshole. And then somehow I was like, well, I should keep him around. He's kind of an interesting, foil for the whole new version of the Foundation in Vanguard. And, it's actually kind of working out pretty well. I never thought I would like writing Clef, but I kind of do. But I do write him differently than
Beware
those
the
other ones do.
Pipeline.
I know.
This is
I
what
know.
stock characters are
I've
for.
only written Clef in one or two articles, and I think in the one article I've written Clef, Bright, and So all the other like LOL Foundation characters, it's very much a LOL Foundation article, but that one has been downvoted by Clef, by Bright, and like a bunch of them.
Yeah.
Still at 250 though, suck my dick.
Yeah, famously hasn't written about the author avatars Rounderhouse.
Yes.
Hey, what was your first 001 proposal, by the way?
I don't have to answer that.
Okay.
This is America.
Okay.
That's not how America works. America is an authoritarian state. You have to answer it.
He's Canadian. I don't have to recognize foreign governments.
He's very right about that.
That's America.
That's right.
that is so fucking American. It's not even funny. We don't even think they exist. Canada is a myth.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Were you asking what his first one reading was?
No, it's because he was asking me about Memento Mori, because that's all about all the avatars.
Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. But they're all dead.
Yes.
Well, yeah, it's writing about killing them.
Spoiler.
The funny thing is, people talk about Memento Mori. It's like, oh my god, you killed off all the favorite author avatars. It's so, but like 3 of them are known to anyone except me. Right. It's like you have Clef, you have, I guess, Gears, even though he doesn't show up until like the last couple of words. I guess writes, what's it called? The dog. Fuck the dog. Crow.
King Pathos Crow.
Yes.
Yes. If that's it, and the rest of them are just like random one-off mentions from the personnel and character dossier. Like you have Bijan, who doesn't even have any articles on the site anymore. They've slowly been deleted over the past 5 years because they sucked.
Yep.
I can't remember. Did you do Light and Moose?
I did do Moose for the Moose is 4, and I did not do Light. I was gonna do Light.
That have actually. Those are the 2 like old
known
school
ones
AAs that I actually like writing.
That's because they're
I like writing Moose
later.
a lot. I like writing Moose a lot. Moose is
well, obviously 6,000.
Yeah, Moose wasn't the main character of 6,000 originally, which most people don't realize. But I don't know if I want to get into that when we're supposed to talk about something else, because I can blither on about that for hours.
We should probably do like an 001 focused episode, but that's not today. All right. I was going to suggest we talk about, like, in terms of creative stuff, because of this, what we're talking about today, Chicago Spirit, like different settings that we like to write in.
Sure.
I just threw it at you guys, so if you want to go first.
No, I'm fine. I can talk. In terms of settings, I don't know about, like, physical, like, location settings, but I really like setting all my articles in, like, a very specific time period, which is, like, 50s, not even 50s, 60s to, like, 80s. Maybe early 90s a little bit. Really like that Cold War vibe. Because I am a sucker for Cold War fiction.
Rounderhouse prefers the world before he was born.
Yes, yeah.
You're one of those people that's like, I wish I was born in a different
No, I just have like a serious attraction to like fiction, like genre fiction from that era, like spy fiction, 70s, 80s crime fiction. I don't know, it's just fun. It's fun.
No,
Definitely.
It is fun. Absolutely. There's no like I have no pushback on that whatsoever. It's great.
Yeah, I have a blast writing like Cold War fiction with like these crazy ideas that actually usually happened during the Cold War because everyone was insane during the Cold War.
Yeah.
And if it's not during the Cold War, it's either in the 20s, and if it's in the 20s, it's the Chicago Spirit story without a doubt, or it's like 40s to 50s, like distant future, not distant future, but like close future type stuff, cyberpunk, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I also kind of prefer in terms of setting different eras, although I mostly like writing about the period that when I was a kid, like in the 80s and 90s.
The 450 BCE.
That's right. 254 BCE. I intentionally set my series back in at first in the 80s and then into the 90s, just because I wanted to like avoid like modern day continuity, like, and not have anybody go like, oh, what happens with, I don't know, it doesn't matter, it was 30 years ago.
Yeah, I very much respect that.
Yeah, because I also started writing it when I was like so new and barely knew shit on the site in terms of like, I'd read for years, but it was very hit. You know, I would.
Yeah, the vast majority of my early time on the site was just random SCP, random SCP,
right.
Random SCP.
Right, exactly. I mean, I hadn't read There Is No Antimemetics Division until like the beginning of like 2020, I think.
I think I read Antimemetics really early on, and it had like it's left a gigantic dent in my forehead as a writer.
Well,
like you can see the visible impression.
Good, so.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so I really like writing stuff in the 90s, especially because it's the same reason why like horror set in that period is such a fun thing because you don't have cell phones and like GPS and et cetera, et cetera.
I can respect that, but like I've always had a real fondness for like far future horror, which is a severely, sadly underexplored genre in my opinion. But like you have shit like space horror. I fucking love. I adore space horror. Shit like Nameless, Event Horizon, Prey. It's awesome.
Prey.
Prey is the
Prey.
We love Prey.
I
right podcast.
I think I have it in my. Yeah, I think I still have it in my Epic library. Even though I originally got the game like pirated, but I ended up paying for it because it was really good.
It's such a good game.
Yeah, it's amazing. I've played it through like 3 times.
So have I.
Yeah.
It's just incredible. But we'll get
that would be the whole episode.
This is literally the first conversation Harry and I had for any length of time. It was like 2 hours of talking about Prey.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Dead Space.
Yeah.
Stuff. Yeah, space horrors is under. I mean, not only is it underutilized, it's significantly underutilized on the site.
Sadly.
I mean, there's a lot of cool space stuff, but it's not really.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool
horror.
space stuff and there's a lot of cool horror stuff, but it very rarely intersects.
Yeah.
Somehow video games like to do it the most.
Oh, yeah. I mean, God, fucking Dead Space.
Alien Isolation.
Doom, Alien Isolation, which I still haven't played.
Yeah, me neither.
It's good.
I'm like a wuss when it comes to horror games. Like, the real horror games, not like action-adventure horror games, but like shit like Alien Isolation where all you can fucking do is run.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
No,
Yeah.
Alien Isolation is kind of halfway in between, I would say, but yeah, I know what you mean. Like, I started playing Soma, and...
Soma's so scary.
Soma's so scary. And I actually think it's a flaw to the game that it's all about, like, running from things, because I think it would be so much scarier if it was just, like, atmospherically scary, like, just, there's just spooky vibes.
Yeah, I didn't like Outlast 2 that much, but Outlast 1 was fucking
Outlast was so good.
Terrifying.
And then Outlast 2 just jumped off that cliff.
Never played the second one.
Yeah,
Not worth playing, really.
Sounds good.
I kind of hate a lot of the ones where it's just, hey, it's first person, and all you can do is run.
Yeah,
it feels like it's been over. Like, I understand why not everyone wants to do like a Resident Evil action-y type of horror game, but like, give me some ability to do something.
Because we avoid Prey topic because we're afraid we'll blather on too long about it. But then you mentioned Resident Evil in front of Harry.
Yeah,
that seems unfair.
Deeply unwise.
That's okay. When we did Arcadia, I literally just like slotted in 30 to 40 minutes where Jackal, Harry, and I could talk about 90s horror games.
Nice.
Because it was like, it's gonna come up, so.
What were we talking about?
Not
sure.
eras, but like settings. Where do you like to...
Settings? I like
Canada.
to set my stuff. Oh god, no. I'm sorry, that's too exotic for me.
Actually, speaking of exotic settings, I have only done like a handful of articles that are even concerned with being in America. Victim is all technically about America, but they're almost always, not a
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Really a setting sort of thing. It's just like media. And then most of my SCPs and tales have been overseas, which is
Meanwhile, there's me.
I like to write my stuff in a variety. I guess I just like a lot of my stuff ends up in America, not of my own volition, but just because that's like where my brain drifts to, because I'm a narrow-minded idiot. But like when I put in an actual effort and I like to like consciously set stuff outside of the United States, like I have but I have like a healthy number of skips set in the Middle East.
Yes, you do.
I love we talked about your GOC one.
Yeah, the Ghazni incident.
Yes.
Fucking love
that just hit 200 yesterday. Hell yeah.
Nice.
Deservedly so. Sorry, Harry, you have been cut off. Like
it hit 200, and I was like, oh, I should put a reply to my author post saying it hit 200 because people do that. And then I looked and I checked, and I realized I'd never written the author post for it a full year later. No, it was W this time.
W? What does that even mean?
Yeah, it was. I think it was like, I don't know. I think I just like hit a random letter.
I don't understand you people.
Yeah. It was a dub.
Harry, we've
Canada
like 3 times.
Sorry, Harry.
Canada. I put things in Canada. No,
I put things up north.
Where it's cold. No, people occasionally are like, hey, you made like this whole location. Why did you do that? Did you have like a big goal in mind? And it's like, yeah, the goal was to be able to write on the site without knowing the names of all your departments and shit and having somebody call me on it. That's why it's so different. It's so different because
It worked perfectly.
apparently it did. Now I know all that information that I could have used if I was going to try to fit it in, but I didn't then, and I didn't really want to. I just wanted to start typing.
It has been unconscious or involuntarily forced on you.
Yeah, it's just sort of bled in as I've had to do contests with people and write in canons that I don't know anything about and stuff like that.
Surrounded by Americans, the curse.
Just Americans wall to wall, which is, and they're the ones who built the walls. So
That's right. We like that.
Americans and their walls.
But yeah, I like setting stuff like outside it because I like to explore a lot of like geopolitics and stuff, history, geopolitics, that kind of thing, which like you can do in America, but also like it involves other countries. So it's fun to set stuff.
A lot of Americans don't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't.
Not aware that geopolitics involves the globe.
Yeah.
But that's the same reason I made up a whole site myself. Because I was like, well, I could set this at Site 19, which is the famous one. I don't know anything about that. Which is where I got 91. Like, I just reversed 19.
Nice.
Site 19 is not even like a setting, it's just a name.
Oh, yeah, I know that now. But, like, at the time, I was like, so many things I see say Site 19 or Site 17. I'm like, maybe
I'm gonna be
a whole history.
I'm gonna be a contrarian, and I'm gonna break out of the box, and then you just flip the numbers backwards.
I did, yeah. I mean, I did it as a joke to myself, and then I looked on the the list, and I was like, oh, well, actually, 91 isn't taken.
I didn't know you did that. That's wow.
Yeah,
that's
I only
creative.
have like 2 sites that I use with any sense of regularity, and both are in America, although they're opposite ends of America, so close enough.
We don't need to go overseas.
Yeah, I have 666, which is in Vegas, which is like not the farthest south you can go, but pretty far south, and then I have Site 7.
Like right in the middle. What do you mean?
It's not, I mean, all things considered, when you lay out the map of, like, the northern tip of Alaska to, like, the bottom tip of Texas, Las Vegas is definitely down south.
Yeah, sure, fair enough. If you count Alaska, everything.
Well, I do count Alaska because that's where the second one is. Although most of that stuff is still in drafting phase right now. There's only, like, 1 article on the site featuring it. Well, Harry's read the draft.
Mm-hmm. It's good.
And he will read the second draft next week.
Oh, good.
Angry.
More line by line.
Threatening.
Yes. He yelled at me last time I gave it to him. He yelled at me. He was angry at me. He was upset at me because I had 78 M dashes in a 7,000 word title.
It isn't just that he uses M dashes like they were taking a breath when you're speaking. It's that they're not always M dashes, they're hyphens. And he knows that I will tell him when he's accidentally put a hyphen, so he just doesn't bother checking.
That's accurate. I did do that. I have no response.
Well, I've just gotten to the point where I just turn all my things to collab, and then Harry just like makes that.
That's a good idea. I'm gonna do that next time.
I like it better, honestly. It takes me less time.
Yeah.
At first, I was like afraid. I was like, "Oh, this is so presumptuous. I'm gonna make so much work." And he was like, "No, this is better." And I'm like, "Oh,
do you know how boring?"
Oh, it's the opposite for me. I'm like, I accept 95% of Harry's proposed edits, and the other 5%, I'm like, I will literally fucking kill you if you touch this. So, like, I'll just
Why? He never does any... It's all, like, grammar stuff.
No, I know that, but then some of the grammar stuff is, like, I have a weird way of writing dialogue where I write it like how I talk.
In dialogue, I kind of ignore it.
Yeah, and I use kind of, like, weird idiosyncrasies and, like, stupid things that don't really, like... They aren't grammatically correct, but they're how I talk, which is how I write dialogue.
This is excellent. You're pitching... You're like, in a week, I'm going to give you something new, and you're going to write me line by line for it that I may ignore 10% of. Like, thanks.
Yeah, 5% of.
Okay, 5. Okay. I can handle 5.
Ignoring 5% of any crit is
you'll enjoy it, Harry.
It's when you ignore the opposite. It's when it's when somebody gives you crit and you don't implement even like 5% of it. You're a
Ralston used to do that with my stuff.
Unless it's just bad.
Whenever I would give Ralston pages and pages of line by line on his spelling and grammar, he'd ignore them, and I'm like,
giving like early 2019 Ralston or not 2020 Ralston line by line is like a war crime.
We're not talking shit on people in this podcast. We're not doing
Ralston knows.
No, this is friendly
Ralston,
shit
I love
talking.
you. Yeah. He knows I love him. He also owes his life to
you know,
me, so
Ralston.
no attention. I feel empowered
I know,
to talk shit.
No attention is bad attention for him. As long as you're saying his name, he's
And
happy.
also, just to be clear for all listeners, Ralston, we're all 3 of us are friends with Ralston, so.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, well, let's move the fuck on.
Yeah,
All right,
we're half
so-
an hour in. We haven't even mentioned the GOI.
Yeah, that's how this usually
That's
goes.
that's just par for the course. So yeah, we're gonna be talking about Chicago Spirit, which
Ooh.
you and Stormbreath and who else like helped you like get it off the ground?
Well, we didn't make it.
Who did?
Oh my
Really?
god, have you been running this thinking we made the GOI? Oh no!
Well,
Oh no!
I didn't.
Well, no, I mostly made it thinking that a lot of the contributions were you guys.
Well, that is true, but we didn't make it originally.
was the first
Originally, I believe Pepper's Ghost was the same first to make it, but he made it in the same way that. Actually, I'm not going to talk about Dreaded Circuses. That's a whole thing over there. But he made it in that he referenced that, like, in a lot of his like Series 2, Series 3 stuff, he'd like reference this anomalous mafia. But it was never really expanded upon until what's it called? He made the hub, which I don't think it was even like originally meant to be a hub. Originally, it was just like an article about the like fictional GOI. It was like an in-universe dossier, and then eventually other people wrote stuff, and it became like a hub. And then Art
I feel
also
like the best
added
hubs-
his thing to it.
The best hubs are almost always that anyway. I mean, some of the ones are great when they're just like a series and there's just like in, like flavor text. But honestly, I love hubs that are here.
I
Let's
like
just
hubs.
break
I
this
can,
down.
Yeah, I can respect a good hub.
Hubba hubba.
I don't make enough hubs. Like everyone always yells at me to make hubs for like Under Vegas or like other shit, and I'm like, no, thank you.
Free page.
Yeah,
It's not like a hatred of hubs. It's just that like I have a weird attraction to like being like. When I was starting out on the wiki, I do a lot of stuff where I just read random SCPs, and then I'd like fall into cross-link loops, and I'd find these whole universes that didn't have a hub. You could only find them by like clicking from one article to another, and it felt like a very natural discovery experience, and that's something I like to emulate.
That is cool, but there's so much goddamn stuff on the wiki now.
Yeah, it's kind of impossible.
Hubs are like fucking necessary, and like if we're anybody that suggests talking about something on this on the show, I've been like, I'd love to have you. Let's talk about it. Do you have a hub? No? Make one.
Fuck off.
Because I'm
Get
just
the fuck
that's
outta
the
here.
only requirement, Like it was me. Yassi's actually working on Attack Theo one because he wants to do an episode. I'm like, I'd love to have you on here. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Where's your hub?
Where's your hub, buddy?
I wasn't aware you were blackmailing people into making hubs on behalf of the podcast.
No, not.
This will be great for
You
the
can
hub
just
mafia.
not come on.
Simply Creative People is a hoax by Grigori to sell more hubs.
That's right. I'm
pocket of
making so
big
much money
hub.
off the hubs. So much money.
All right.
Anyway, so who called it? Who decided it was GOI 001?
I assume it was Pepper's Ghost.
That does
so
sound like a
fucking
Pepper's Ghost
ballsy.
thing. Yeah.
I
It's
think
just
I
so-
mean, it is, on one sense, it is ballsy, but also, like, consider that this was made in, like, fucking, what was it, 2014?
Yeah.
There were GOIs before
Yeah, but
that?
these are
There were GOIs before
is
that, but the
old-timey.
thing was that they were all, like, modern, like, GOIs, like the Chaos Insurgency, the GOC, shit like that. Whereas, what's it called? The Chicago Spirit is very explicitly meant to be, like,
Yeah,
it's
you're
very
right.
clearly dated to a very specific time and place, and it's like, oh, it's like the first GOI the Foundation encountered.
also makes it like a Public Enemy number one sort of thing.
Yeah.
I never thought about it like that, but that is
It
pretty
just
clever.
popped
I
into
like
my
that.
head because I can't have long-term intelligent thoughts, but I do get quick ones that somehow just appear
Yeah,
in my
it's like
mind.
a flash in the pan.
Yeah, like me.
It's the blur, like the figments of a dying mind.
Yeah, thanks.
The thing I actually like, going back to what you were talking about it being like a historical GOI, the thing I really like about it is that in a lot of these articles, the Foundation barely plays a part because even in the SCPs, because they're just kind of writing about it after the fact. Because during that period, some of the articles even say the Foundation was like a ghost of its current self. Like it just didn't have the power that it has now.
Yeah, I like writing stuff like this because it's like very, like you can play with a lot with like the conception of the Foundation before the internet was a thing, before the phones were a thing, before anything was a thing.
Also, secret government agencies,
Also,
like
yes,
in the first like half of the century, is like weirdly charming.
I
until
love that shit. It's
to
like the fucking not. I'm gonna think of the name. You keep talking.
You thinking of a movie or?
like I've
No, it's a comic book. I can't fucking remember.
League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Nah.
That kind of,
Sort
but
of.
not what I was thinking of.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. The point is that like I like the idea of like the secret government agencies in like the 1800s and the early 1900s, and then they get real shitty when the Cold War happens, and they just start like oppressing everyone left and right. I mean, they probably did it before that too, but like
I love that dynamic, tracking the growth of like organizations through the 20th century. I love it.
Yeah, totally. Like you look at the craziness that the FBI started out as just like one crazy person's like pack of wild like hunting dogs basically. Mm-hmm. And then that lasted until the 70s. Anyway.
You want to read the blurb?
Blurb. Do you want to read it? Or
Sure, I can read it.
Okay, so yeah, you read this opening flavor text.
Alright, let me get a drink first. Alright. When folks ask where I studied, I just laugh at them. I don't believe in formal education. I never spent a day in a classroom, yet I'm one of the most successful men in this city. Boys and men who could be spending their time productively are instead forced to waste years of their lives, stooped over books, trying to snatch some trace of intellect for themselves. Yeah. What the schoolmasters don't tell you is that genius is something you're born with. I may not know calculus, but I run the largest business of its type in the country. I may not be able to name every tribe in Africa, but I can turn a man inside out with a snap of my fingers. I can't give you a scientific explanation for how we perform the miracles we do, but then again, no one else can either. In my business, me and the Ivy League boys are equal in everything. Everything, that is, except power. That's something I have plenty of.
And that is Richard Chappell, who is the head of...
I've always pronounced it Chappelle. Chappelle. Really? But that's very much a me thing. I don't know how it's pronounced, in Pepper's Ghost mind.
Yeah, I don't know. Either way works. Okay,
we could go... we could have called the episode Chappell's or Chappell's Show. No. Terrible idea. I didn't say that.
Go back to your hole. Go back to your hole.
Shut up.
The reason I always say Chappell is because I like the idea of Dickie Chappell.
It's
a good mobster name.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I like the way Chappelle rolls off the tongue.
No, I think in my head it was always Chappelle, so there we go. We just covered the entire...
You're a liar.
Just covered the entire...
That's not true. Somehow I don't believe that's true.
Yeah, you don't believe that my brain works wrong in a different way.
Yeah, that's correct. I don't believe that.
That's okay.
I mean, I've said it many times, but I don't believe it.
You don't believe anything I say.
That's correct. I mean, no, wait, fuck.
That was a logic trap. So, the Chicago Spirit is like an organized crime organization.
No way.
Well done.
Organized crime. It's like a mobster movie. It's gangsters, but it's all anomalous. Weird magic shit and fucking reality benders meets The Godfather, essentially. Mm-hmm. The summary says the Chicago Spirit was an organized crime syndicate based in Chicago, Illinois. Shocking. The group operated locally during the first 2 decades of its existence, but later spread to other major cities in the United States as a result of the wealth generated by its bootlegging operations during America's Prohibition era. Spirit employed numerous individuals with anomalous capabilities, created and exploited a number of anomalous artifacts for use in its business, and was owned by one Richard D. Chappell, a Type C reality bender.
Mm-hmm. SCP-046 ARC. That's always an interesting thing to me. Mm-hmm. Because, I did write an ARC article, a while ago, but, the idea that, I've always wanted to write, a proper ARC for Chappelle.
Yeah, it's cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you should, honestly. Although it is kind of a lot of fun that in a lot of articles he's just mentioned.
Yeah, I did, I like him as, a Kaiser Soze figure.
That's how you use
him. Him in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah. He does work. I mean, he does work as, that one about the bubbles, when they're really like that one. Yes. Or Where's Benny Gunn or whatever.
Rudy Benson. What remains of Rudy Benson?
Yeah, remember Rudy Benson. But in general, I do really like the fact that he's just sort of that guy who's hanging around. The GOI formats will be like, hey, this is what Richard, whatever. And instead of him being this larger than life character like Anderson or Wondertainment or something.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, so it's been in existence, which I really like that it starts off in the late 1800s, 1895, and it starts off as a bar, which was called the Chicago Spirit, which is really fun, because on the hub it talks about how Chappelle had problems with the idea that he wasn't making enough money, so for the first couple of years, so he just starts making crazy items, anomalous items, and selling them out of the top floor, and as he keeps going with that for a few years, he starts expanding out into like organized crime. I think that's like a funny jump too. Like I would like to read the story of like how you went from like I'm gonna sell shit out of my out of my attic, and then.
Well, I imagine during Prohibition it wasn't that serious of a jump.
Well,
like
we're talking about years before Prohibition, decades before Prohibition.
Oh, okay. I got confused. Never mind. You're right. But yeah, it is. It's a fun pivot. But I think some of the articles explore it interestingly.
Yeah, no, totally.
They show him as like a street kid who grows up, and obviously, even though you get a bar, you're still kind of like a thug, I guess, and that kind of life never leaves.
Right.
Yeah, sure. And I mean, just owning the bar doesn't mean that you're that far away from
world-weary
bars, famously legitimate establishments.
Rounderhouse, just like that kind of life never leaves you. You can just see him like
don't insult the huge segment of our audience that owns bars.
Having his like Vietnam flashback at age all, 18 or whatever. 19. Oh, you're 19 now. Okay.
Yes.
Have you been inside a bar?
I don't have to answer that. Again, this is America.
The answer is no for the audience.
Oh, right. The Americans have that bullshit.
Yes, actually.
Bullshit with
it wasn't open at the time, but I was inside.
Yeah, fair enough. So, group's leadership mainly consists of men who are possessing abilities similar to those of Chapel. The Foundation essentially allows them to do what they want. This is paraphrasing, because they just weren't as powerful of an organization until towards the end of the 30s, when they finally did kind of rise up and take down the spirit.
Yeah.
Which sort of falls apart once they've contained Chappelle. And what's interesting is that Chappelle constantly swears up and down that he never had any anomalous powers, that it was always this other guy, Mr. Knight.
This is the main point where I diverge from Stormbreath's canon heavily.
Right.
I really like the idea of Chappelle as like this seriously like fucked up like magic gangster dude who really can turn you inside out with the snap of his fingers, and I feel like attributing that to another character works for Stormbreath's story that he's building, but like I feel like it robs the character Chappelle of a lot of his charm for me. Which I can respect Storm's interpretation, but I just don't agree with it.
I think it's fun that both exist. Honestly.
Yeah, I can respect both. I've read enough about all of Storm's things with Mr. Knight. It's just like when it comes to the spirit in a void, just them. I like Chappelle to be anomalous.
I gotta ask, has there been any crossover with the Spectre?
I mean, they are the same GOI in a sense.
No. I mean, the Spectre. The shadowy...
Oh, that Spectre. Okay, see, you confused me on purpose. I don't appreciate that. This is toying.
I could see that as a tale. The Spectre versus the Spectre.
I think... Well, nothing's written, as I can recall, that mentions that, but Hippo has pitched it to me several times.
I feel like that would be a really fun...
Yeah, it wasn't like... I don't remember if it was specifically the Spectre, but it was like a Spectre-esque pulp magazine superhero who would be like taking down the spirit, and there would obviously be metafiction because Hippo is involved, and it was like a really cool idea, and I think I would like to see it on the Wii.
It's the right like time period pastiche for both of them, so that's kind of neat.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, and then there's like that secondary resurgence where like sometime in like the 90s they start coming back, and it's like a little bit unclear, and the Foundation isn't really sure who these people are, but they're constantly going up against the GOC and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I know you, because we talked about it a bunch, like love gangster stories.
I do.
Sure
I
does.
do love gangster stories.
So what? Like I like them too, but what is it that draws you to it?
I don't know. It's like I guess I just like the whole vibe of all of it. I've never been able to put into words quite what attracts me to like crime movies, crime fiction, gangster stories, but like I love all that shit. Old school gangster movies. Goodfellas-esque crime fiction, Scarface, Legend, fucking Sopranos, whatever. I love it. Even heist movies like Ocean's 11. Ocean's 11 is probably one of my favorite movies of all time.
Ocean's 11 is great. Let's just not.
Yes, we just need to
talk about the other ones.
I like Ocean's 13. It's not as good, but it's respectable. Ocean's 12 is. We're not going to talk about that.
Oh, have you seen The Sting? I think you'd like The Sting if you haven't seen that.
I don't think I have.
Oh, you would really love this.
It's a one great big gigantic con heist movie set in like the Depression, I think.
Is the one with Paul
Newman and Robert Redford.
Paul Newman and
like 50 other
Redford.
people.
Ooh, yes.
It's really, really good.
It's fucking wonderful.
Yes.
And they have such good fucking chemistry. That and Sundance are two like amazing flicks just because of the two.
Definitely.
For me, I've always really liked gangster stories too, but the ones that really work for me and always have are the ones that talk about people like immigrating and finding themselves without any opportunities and just getting kind of sucked up into this world.
The Scarface.
But then also lots of the true stories, you know?
Yeah,
I mean, tremendous amount of them were people that either were first generation or second generation immigrants living in absolute squalor, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's not
poverty.
like it's completely based in real life. That's why so many of these gangs were like ethnically based, because you had like virulent racism, like comically huge amounts of racism during the early 20th century. And it's like the only opportunities you could have were like low-paying, shitty menial labor or like breaking the law. And you know, I can't really fault anyone for making that choice.
It's not much of a choice
at the time. Yeah.
I mean, I think once it gets to the point where you're breaking somebody's fucking fingers off to get your money, maybe I can't blame them. But that's the
it happened over 50 years ago, therefore I don't have to question the morality of it.
There's no organized crime now whatsoever.
It's all gone.
Yeah, none at all.
And the racism too. We solved all of that.
The Sopranos is fiction, don't you know?
I do know. Yeah, but like those are the ones that always. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I do like Casino, and I do like. Actually, I don't really like Sopranos.
Yeah, I don't really like Casino, but that's a different thing.
Oh no, I very much. Like
I don't
Casino,
think we want to talk about how you don't like the one he likes and he likes the one you like.
No, I'm not like the one. It doesn't make a difference. But the one that I like that is absolutely utter garbage is I think it's Gangsters, and it's got Christian Bale playing Lucky Luciano. It's the fucking worst. It is not a good film at all, but I fucking love it. It's like 91 or 92. It's like the height of Christian Bale, and Patrick Dempsey is playing Meyer Lansky. Let me tell you something about Meyer Lansky. Did not look like Patrick Dempsey.
that's not. Meyer Lansky had his own thing going on.
He was amazing, but
he was an awesome guy, fun guy. I mean, in a certain definition of fun.
Right. So it was Pepper's Ghost that made.
Yes, Pepper's Ghost. Pepper's Ghost made him original.
You certainly got your own like rendition of him, and he's certainly not like every other gangster guy. So like, I almost feel like he's kind of got a Joker quality to him.
I don't think that. I'm curious where you came up with that.
Are you joking?
Are you just trying to tap into the memes
chaos.
or what, man? Yeah.
No, I'm not doing anything.
No, not you. Grigori. You brought up Joker. What have you done?
You're right. That's not a character outside of the meme. It's not like he's
it's brand new. It was created by what's his face in the movie.
Created by Jared.
Lord Zunu.
Oh no,
because he mentions it so much.
Yes, Jokerized.
Is that how you pronounce his name?
Yeah, we had him on last time, and he explained that it was Zunu, which I don't think anybody does.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
You can't disagree.
I don't agree with your name.
I can totally disagree with someone's interpretation of their name. Watch me. The Joker was invented in 2015 when Jared Leto dyed his hair green.
Oh god. Anyway. The thing I actually really like about Spectre...
we're talking about Spectre now, yeah?
Yeah, just, the James Bond organization. No. There's so many things that are called Spectre, it's ridiculous. But in the wiki, the Chicago spirit, is that, like, in a lot of ways, I mean, I don't actually know back in 2014 if there was a lot of other competition for this, but I do feel like it fills a niche that, like, isn't really explored that much in other parts of the
wiki. I think that still remains true. Yeah. There's, like, no other anomalous crime organizations, at least on the English wiki. Which
is crazy to me, honestly.
Which sucks, but, like, I had a draft that I deleted that, like, kind of explored that concept, but,
because, like that. It would be true, like, other than, there's that one metaphysician about the Russian mob, and then there's this, and then, honestly, I'm sure there are other ones, but I really...
They're, like, mentioned here and there, but there's never anything, like, serious long-term about them. The draft I mentioned was going to be about, like, I don't want to get too into, like, the vast archive of deleted Rounderhouse drafts, because, wow, there are a lot, but it was going to be about, like, the secret sixth family of the New York Five Family Mafia, and it was going to be, like, how the spirit went to war with them for their presence in New York, and Chappelle, like, literally obliterated them from memory, like, from the like.
Oh, I
human
remember
memory.
this. I remember seeing something about this you were writing. I remember this.
Yeah, he remembers it in the recesses of his mind.
I've seen a lot of he's sent me things to look at that just don't exist anymore.
The
Yeah.
way you said that, he sent me things.
Well, you talk
Things
about
that I will
He
never
sent
forget.
me letters.
you talk about
Man
me
was never meant
sundowning
to
and me
see.
having an old man brain, but you also just gaslight me by showing me things and then never doing anything with them, and then I never hear
It's
about them
not
again.
gaslighting. I'm not doing it on purpose.
It's accidental.
As far as I know.
It's just like fucking fate.
Yeah, it's just I can't control where my brain decides to take me, and if my brain decides to take me to the delete button on that draft, I can't help it.
Do you just actually like fully delete drafts?
Yeah,
They're just gone?
they're gone.
Horrifying.
Wow.
I saved them if I think there's like anything I can salvage from the concept, but 9 times out of 10, it's to the dumpster you go.
Existential terror, man.
I have never deleted a draft.
I have deleted probably as many articles as I've posted.
I've never written anything bad, so
Nice.
Actually,
I think you should try it that
until
way.
very recently, because I have like no time, I have never started a draft without finishing it and then posting it. And now
That
I've
is
that's
fucked up. I don't like
psychopathic.
that. Yeah, that's
now
insane.
just well, I'm very like objective oriented. Like
Yeah.
it's like okay, set up a deadline. We're doing this
Yeah,
thing.
you
We're
are.
getting it out.
I respect that. I'm unable to do
yeah,
that.
same.
I just go where the waves take me.
Yeah, no, I don't.
I just find myself in places and don't remember how I got there. Is what I do.
Well, that happens in the
And he
middle of the
insists
draft.
he isn't
very
sundowning.
frequently.
I didn't say I wasn't. I just said you pointed out.
Yes.
It's either that or you have like a really serious substance abuse problem.
Well, just the Coca-Cola.
Just awkwardly. Well,
I can't rule it out. ...
What are we? What
As I
are we?
pour myself some
What
booze.
were we talking about?
We were talking about.
We just had a whole podcast. We're done.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah,
You
bye,
forgot about
guys.
That makes sense. That explains why it's 11:51 p.m. already.
Oh, my God. Oh, that's right. East time. Weird. Yeah, let's talk about some articles. So we're going to start off with, and this one's yours, isn't it?
Let me look at the outline again.
638?
Yes, 638 is mine.
Which is probably the first thing I read, and it might have been one that you had.
Wow, first thing you read ever.
Yep.
Little baby Grigori.
No, first thing I read with the Chicago
Yeah, this
Spirit,
was the first
which is
one I
probably
read
why
for
I
it, too.
thought-
Look at that.
Which is probably why I
this
thought you
is
created it.
yeah. This article now has something nicer on the top, if you see it. Yeah, baby.
Oh, it's got the fancy
So
attribution.
it's got, in my opinion, I feel like it's got a lot of pulling a lot of inspiration from the Usual Suspects. Am I crazy, or is
That is absolutely correct.
okay?
Like
Not in a bad. Not it's definitely its own thing, but it's got that same feeling of like we have like 4 or 5 different perspectives talking about this.
yeah,
guy
but no,
who we
I
never
literally just
see.
watched Usual Suspects and I was like, God damn! And then I sat at my computer for like 2 days.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, I mean it's a thing that they couldn't.
I take a lot of inspiration from movies and TV that I watch.
It's the thing they couldn't do in the movie because they didn't have magic powers. So it's the magic powers version of the Usual Suspects.
I would love a remake of Usual Suspects where Kaiser Soze has like laser eyes.
No magic powers, just fucking.
She's just
Cyclops. Yeah, it's
interrogating him and then zzz, just sears through the guy's head.
fine. Spoilers for a 30-year-old movie, I guess.
If you haven't watched it by now, you don't deserve to get spoiler warned.
Yeah, it's pretty old. So this is basically just all about an anomalous bank job, but
It's not actually like honestly. I say Usual Suspects, but like in my head, while I was thinking of it, I was also thinking more of like Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah.
Oh sure, that makes
Because
sense.
it's like
especially
it's
because you've
like
got
yeah, it's all the guys, and it's like after the crime has taken place, and you never see the actual crime happen.
which I liked a lot. Like I like that it's all like post-event like interviews,
Yes.
which a lot of SCPs are that, but it really worked with the sense of like a crime thing because yes, this guy is an embedded agent, but he might as well just be like a fucking a detective doing his interviews.
Mhm.
But my favorite part about it, though, is that each of these people has like a wildly different idea about what happened.
Yeah, they all disagree by rule.
Yeah, and I mean, it's like, are they trying to fuck with him, or is it just the fact that Richard Chappell is like such a fucking good mastermind that he like let everyone else believe like a slightly different story?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was like I was definitely thinking that Chappell planned all of this out while he was, this was completely intended by him. Get in, get the gold, leave all the other 5 douchebags for the cops, and then bolt.
Yeah, and they are douchebags too. They've all got their own unique way of being a douchebag. Particularly the second one, who has so much dialogue.
What's the second one again?
The second one is Moody, who has dialogue that you could only write because you're not a white guy.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's true. You have like 7 different ethnic slurs in this.
Yes, I think across 2 articles, I have 2 Chicago Spirit articles anyway that I have to specify from. This is not the other non-Chicago Spirit slur articles. Those are a whole different thing.
This is how you're distinguished from Stormbreath, is the ethnic slur.
Yes, Stormbreath has Mr. Knight. I have Mr. Racist.
He also doesn't like gay people very much. We'll get to that later.
Yeah, I mean, it's not
There's a
like
whole thing going on
I
there.
did. This wasn't just like me being edgy or anything. I did like defend a creative decision in the comments when someone's like, I completely respect the decision to be like, it's not cool to use like ethnic slurs or stuff in an article. But for me, it's like, I have read probably an unhealthy amount about this kind of like the people, the gangsters, and like 95% of these gangs were usually ethnically based. Like you had shit like the 5 Points gang, which was Irish, obviously the Chicago Outfit, which was Italian. You had all the New York Mafia. You also had like the Jewish Mafia, which not a lot of people know about, which is really sad because it's nuts.
Well, that's because we're much better at keeping secrets.
Yeah, probably. But you also had a way funnier name. It's called the Kosher Nostra, which I love. I adore that because I love stupid puns and I love the Mafia.
It's really funny, yeah. And then you've got fucking Al Capone. It's just the outfit.
Yeah, it's not Italian whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, it does make sense that they were like such a specifically ethnic thing because, like you said, I mean, this was most of these things started out of like a necessity to like, I can't find any work. Who's going to give me a job? Somebody that I know that's in my family or is a family friend who happens to also be Italian or also be Jewish or also be etc. etc.
Yeah, but it was not like me just being edgy for edgy's sake. It was like a creative decision. Like I wanted to make this character out to be an asshole because he is an asshole. So that's what.
Yeah, it's part of what makes them feel legitimate as period piece characters, is they do feel like they have the same prejudices as people in the past.
Yeah, I can't remember who it was, but I think someone in the comments is like this. Between the slurs and the trope dialogue, this basically reads as a gangster movie, and I was like, fuck yeah, it does.
What do you think the goal was? I mean, I totally get saying, hey, I don't want to use these, or...
Yeah. I respect that
nothing
entirely.
wrong with that.
I respect that entirely.
But you don't want tropey dialogue from a gangster flick?
That's what they're for.
Set in the SCP universe? Like, sorry, that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
But I really like the dialogue in this. I especially
Thank
like
you.
that they really feel like you jokingly say I write dialogue like just the way you talk, but these 5 individuals...
That wasn't a joke.
Well, fine, but these 5 individuals, well, 4 because 2 of them are like twin and they kind of talk very much like themselves.
Yeah.
These 4 different interviews feel like they're from 4 very different, speech patterns.
Actually, the other guy doesn't talk because one says like
that's right.
He's mute and he signs language, but yeah.
Yeah, they all do sound
different.
different.
I get what your point. Yeah, I do write dialogue how I talk, and that's not like that's just true. But like when I explicitly have multiple characters that I need to differentiate, I can like it's not hard for me to like make tics, make little changes to character voice and stuff to differentiate them.
Yeah,
it makes a big difference.
These days they all use M dashes though, despite their personalities. But
M dashes in dialogue.
Yeah.
Yes,
tons of them.
Tons of
them.
I just think it's fun. I'm always fighting the use of ellipses, but not in actual dialogue, just in everything.
I have semicolon cancer. That's my specific problem.
That's very good. I'm stealing that.
Thank you.
Uh-oh.
Is that Mushu?
What?
Yeah, that's Mushu. Give me just a second. I'm going to let him out of my room.
He has a very large and very cool cat.
Very large? Like how big?
Well, it's not like anomalously large, but it's a large tomcat, and it's very, very... It's exactly the kind of cat you'd expect Rounderhouse to have. It's got attitude.
All cats have attitude.
Yes, but like if he was a character in a TV show and he had a cat that was like representing his personality, that's the cat he has.
Fair enough.
It's like a drama queen.
Okay, I've returned, and I can only assume that you heard Mushu meowing desperately as I removed him.
I didn't.
No, I didn't get to hear
okay,
him.
good
It's
then.
too bad.
Yeah, that would have been fine if we did.
We'll have Mojo on for a later podcast.
Yeah. This is not very interesting.
Something I wanted to ask, though, at this point, how much of a character was Chappelle?
Not much. Okay.
Okay.
I mean, Chappelle's never really been a character. Like, I can count maybe on one hand the amount of, like, direct appearances he's made in SCPs and stuff.
That's fair.
But, yeah, this was very much like I wanted to keep him in the background where he belongs.
But he does feel like a character here.
He does feel like a character. Well, I mean, he is a character, I guess.
No, you know what I mean. Like, he actually feels like he has a personality.
In his absence, he still feels
directly from him. Yeah. And I mean, maybe that's projection, but I feel like the implication is there. Just the idea that we have these 5 individuals, 4 of which are speaking, who all have like a very different idea about what the plan was, and this was the only job that they ever set up, and he set them up for it. And it's so very clear that you can like read between the lines and see what kind of person he is.
Yep, and then, like, I guess the last twist with, Pick and Chappelle, it works on that basis that you've been seeing this guy in the background through the article, and then at the very last addendum it becomes clear that, oh wait, he was there.
Yep.
So now they don't have to read it. Good job.
No, you didn't. You were vague enough that didn't necessarily spoil it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really care about spoilers for my articles.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
It's like I'm there for the journey, not the destination.
In his mind, like, you've heard it now, he's spoiled it for you. You don't need to read it. You can just upvote it.
Yeah, it's basically like a reading.
Yeah.
We're gonna do one because we're gonna read the entirety of one of these.
Well, we're not reading.
We're reading the entirety.
We're gonna read the entirety of the fun one.
Are we reading the entirety of it?
The Dick Chapel quotes one. It's not even that long. We could alternate between the three of us, easy.
All right, there are some of them.
That one's super tiny.
Well, if you see when you don't,
coward.
Oh, not just coward. Morally opposed.
We can skip any that have horrible words.
They're not even. Which ones have horrible? I wrote this like 2 years ago.
I barely remember.
3 years ago. Oh god.
Yeah, you're old.
Well, Grigori's got an editorial veto when he edits anyway.
No, I don't care. I'll just say, hey, I'm not going to read this one. One of you guys can read it.
Yes, okay, we could do passes.
Yeah, okay.
But first, we're going to talk about one of Storm Breath's, which is 4901, Remember Rudy Benson.
Yes, I like this one a lot.
Yeah, it's really good.
It doesn't really agree with my interpretation, but that doesn't stop it from being an absolutely kick-ass article.
Yeah, because this is definitely one where when we talk to Chappelle after he's been contained, he's like, I didn't have anything to do with this. It was an accident. It was all Mr. Knight.
I mean, this is based off like one-off line from the Hub, I think it is. Actually, I can't remember if it's from the Hub, but it's a one-off line somewhere for Chicago Spirit that says like the first person he ever killed was a newsboy who tried to take over his like news selling territory or whatever. Yeah. And he just like obliterated the kid, which I thought was like a really cool idea.
I think the Hub says something like totally exsanguinated him or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah, so the opening lines of this one, past the Conprox, is SCP-4901 is an amorphous entity composed of sewage, bovine/porcine remains, and human blood, currently located in Bubbly Creek, Chicago.
Yeah, that's a real fucking thing.
It just sets you up. Like, in this perfect way, it's just like, well, I don't know what kind of article you were thinking this was going to be, but this is what the article is.
It's an excellent opening. It's probably amplified to me, because, like, I used to live in Chicago, which is probably part of the reason I lived at GOI, but I lived in Chicago for a very long time. I was born there. But Bubbly Creek is an actual fucking thing. Like, it's, like, behind where all the old, like, slaughterhouses and shit used to be.
Nice.
And it's just, like, a fork of the Chicago River, and it's just, like, they dumped all their, like, viscera and crap in there, and it sank to the bottom, and then as it decayed, it let out methane bubbles that just made the entire place both bubble and stink like fuck for years.
That's amazing.
Because throwing it in the water, like, slows down the decomposition so much.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It's so gross as hell.
Move to Chicago.
Wait, it doesn't still smell like that, right?
Not really, no.
Yeah.
Does it still bubble?
No.
Shitty. They should start throwing shit down there again.
They should start throwing dead bodies down there again. I mean, it doesn't like smell unless you like get right up to like the close of the river, at which point it like smells bad. But like,
I wouldn't be. The river smells bad.
Don't all your rivers smell bad?
Yeah.
No. East
I'm
Coast
curious.
and fucking center of the fucking country's rivers smell bad because they use it for like
Everything.
industrial purposes. We
Everything.
do not use rivers for anything here because we are very scared that something will fuck them up and they'll
Yeah, all your
disappear
rivers
because
are
we have
fake.
almost none.
Fake
Oh, well,
rivers.
There is the quote unquote Los Angeles River, but that is not real.
I like the Los Angeles River.
Me too. And it's actually kind of got some really interesting like visuals
Vibes.
because
like the whole
Yeah.
sunken area with like,
Yes.
yeah, I like that shit.
but it's not a real fucking river. We dug
Yeah.
a trench from one side of the county to the other.
But it's not like Bubbly Creek doesn't like
No.
it.
Oh.
I don't know how to phrase this because like it doesn't like stink in the way that I would say it stinks, but it definitely smells if you get close to it. And it doesn't like bubble like I'm told way back when it bubbled like literally like bubbled like a hot tub constantly 24/7. But now it like I guess if you watch it for an hour or something, you could watch it bubble a little bit, but like it's not much.
It's so fucking gross.
That's such a great bit of scene setting.
It is.
It's still absolutely rancid though. Like if you asked me to like step in it, I would kill you. It's disgusting.
This is the most ridiculous overreaction I've ever heard.
He really does not like bad smells.
I mean, it would be a life or
Why
death
did-
situation. If I stepped in it, I would die, so I would have to kill you to avoid dying.
If I just asked you to step in it, you'd kill someone.
He's like
I would get sepsis.
Rounderhouse is like Batman. He has a plan for if he has to kill any of us.
Batman does not plan to kill anyone.
Funny joke.
I was waiting for Grigori to just be pedantic about the part that can obviously be transferred to. Yes, I know Batman doesn't kill anybody, but he does have a plan to neutralize everybody.
You set him up and he lost it.
You were being pedantic,
Yeah.
you lawyer.
Oh, There's one person who has the power
Oh, because
to kill me.
lawyers are pedantic by a definition, I see.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, you know who else is? Teachers, Mr. History Professor.
That's actually what the word is for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ladies, you both suck.
No, we know.
Yeah, we know.
Anyway, one of my favorite lines in this one is when discussing the entity's mental state. Its mental state is deteriorated as a result of its physical condition.
No shit.
That's such a good line.
I mean, because on the one hand, like, and I even wrote in the outline in like this duh, of course sort of way, but then you like think about it and you go, wait a minute, it's conscious of what it is?
Yeah.
That's so fucked. It's really funny and it's so
It's
fucked.
horrifying.
There's a lot of lines in this that are really funny and both fucked. Like in the Parawatch section, there's like a paragraph that absolutely kills me. It's like naming off the Chicago Spirit like lieutenants. It's like Sawteeth was said to have come back to life at least a dozen times. Reels was often placed at 2 different places at the same time. Derringer was a wizard. And then it's like Leggy is said to be nothing more than a pair of legs capable of entering in a car. And you're like, what the fuck?
I love that. Leggy is the best.
Oh, God.
And I think Storm mentioned it as, it's like idiots at Parawatch fucking shit up. But I like to imagine that Leggy was like a real hard-boiled gangster.
Which,
in the
like,
20s.
perfectly sums up the difference between yours and, like, Stormbreath's,
Yes.
like, perspective on the GOI. Because like, you have a very fun... Like, the feeling of it is, like, these people are full of shit constantly. They're dangerous, and they're, like, bad people, but they're also, like, constantly...
It's very much a movie, like, like a cinematic. Yeah.
Like, I can kind of believe in your version of it there would be somebody named Leggy that was just legs.
Yeah.
It's also cool how he
Anyway,
always
so-
uses the Parawatch stuff. Stormbreath's one of the best people for just interpolating a Parawatch
Stormbreath
post.
is incredibly talented at weaving like themes of like urban myths, urban legends, like creepypasta, that kind of vibe into his stories. I have never been able to do that, and I respect it a lot.
Yeah, he's really good at that, which isn't a surprise because also has written a bunch of Parawatches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah,
I
that is
also like
certainly...
I like the interview in this one because it fascinates me like as a notable like interview writer because like it does the thing you're not traditionally supposed to do, and if you look down, you see that like it's basically 5 paragraphs or 5 or 6 paragraphs of this one person talking and monologuing.
Mm-hmm.
Which usually doesn't work for like dialogue because that's boring to read, but like the monologue here is filled with such a strong voice,
Yes.
it just works.
Yes, if you make the person
also,
hypnotic
it's
enough.
like he... Not only is it like a strong voice, he's so ridiculously uncooperative.
Yeah.
Like, in this way where, like, the doctor has to constantly, like, okay, but listen, I'm asking you the question. This is this is what I'm asking. So, was it like this or not? No, it's not like that. It's like this. And then,
Yeah, that's fun.
And the funniest part is that he is like half the peppery asshole that I would expect. And then there's half like him going, listen, this is for real. I'm being serious.
It's great. I love it.
Like, he just can't help but slip into being a dick. But he is actually being sincere. But yeah, this does fit into that sort of slice of the Chicago spirit where, like, night is the real problem behind everything. Which I like your version of it, and I also like this because it gives you that. I like the idea of, like, the secret silent partner, you know, one way or the other.
Yeah.
And something about this article that I think really works is, like you already brought up, it really relies on the idea of urban legend because the anomaly is certainly the central point, but it isn't.
But it's based off the premise of, like, remembering urban legends and stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, like, even so much as, like, why this kid was messed up, you know, or, like, how kind of the basis of it, and how it's continuing to be, you know, something, like, even to the point where, like, when somebody does run into it, that plays into it. Like, even being acknowledgement, you know, of
this is what I mean when I say
is making it worse.
Yeah, this is what I mean when I say strong breath. Like, he doesn't just include, like, elements of urban myths into his articles. He, like, the theme is urban myths, like, what we remember, what we don't. It's very good.
Yeah, it's really good. And so that's why I'm being, like, a little bit circumspect about talking about it, because I think this is, like, a really effective article and people should just
It's very good.
But now we're going to do the fun one.
Yay.
Hey there, fans of Simply Creative People. We're mostly unsponsored so far, so I figured I would take the time to mention that you can support the show on the show page at anchor.fm/simplycreativepeople, or if you're so inclined, you can check out Harry or my Ko-Fi pages at ko-fi.com/harryblink or /Grigori Carpin author. Things are crazy tough out there, so if you can't afford any financial support, and trust me, we understand, do us a favor and mention the podcast to someone who might enjoy it, or spread the word online. If we want to bridge the gap between fans and creators, we've got to get the word out to new fans. In many ways, this show is designed to be appealing to new and old fans of SCP alike, as we can all enjoy some discussion about this thing we love, and we can all learn something new. Heaven knows, I learn something new every week. Thanks so much, and we love you just for listening. Thanks for the support through all these first few months of the podcast. You're the best. I mean, they're all fun. But,
words of wisdom from the desk of Richard Chappelle.
So I'm just going to read this opening part. So, SCP-46 ARC infamous Chicago spirit leader Richard Chappelle was detained by the Foundation in 1933 after a raid in his estate and placed in containment. Due to Chappelle's increasing age, both his mental and physical wellness rapidly deteriorated during his confinement. In his last few years, he was a shell of his former self, often ranting to himself about topics no one else quite understood or lost in his own memories. What follows is a short collection of some of his more outrageous statements, collected by his personal nurses.
Now that you read that out loud, I just kind of realized that I wrote a tale about somebody sundowning.
You did,
That's
yes.
true.
And you're going to have me read part of it.
And the picture you included, which is the same one I think you included in the 638.
Yeah, it's part of it.
I've used this photo like 4 times.
Because it's amazing.
It's so good. It's amazing, yeah. I mean, actually, I wanted to say, before we moved on, all the photos in 638.
Yeah, none of them are American either, which is extra funny to me.
That is funny.
Yeah, explain that quickly.
They're all mugshots taken by, like, I think it's the Sydney Police Department. It's one of the Australian cities.
Interesting.
And for some inexplicable reason, they just decided to have the criminals come in dressed up and, like, take, like, fashion mugshots. And
yeah, some of them have, like, such a, like, playfulness to them.
Yeah,
like,
these are real mugshots. These are real criminals. I don't know why they, like, gave them hats and shit, but, like, go figure.
They were bored. They were just bored. All right, so we're just gonna read through these.
Yeah, so we'll alternate them, and
yeah,
if you oppose reading one you get, we can just skip one.
That's right.
Because there will probably be a few here I don't want to say out loud if they end up being mine.
Yeah, we'll just give all the ones that we don't want to say out loud to Rounder because he wrote them, so he can fucking read them.
I'm also the only brown person here, so I get a pass.
That's right.
Oh, that's true.
I mean, although I'm off-white, so
not good enough.
I'm Scottish. Nope. I have nothing. I can't.
No, you got nothing.
I can't do anything.
Nope.
You were impressed by the English. Does that help? No?
Well, everyone's impressed by the English. That doesn't make you special.
That's universal, yeah.
All right, I'll read this first one. I don't trust no man who drinks water. Fish fucking that stuff, see?
I like that you did the gangster voice. I appreciate that.
Of course.
I guess Harry can go next because I'll go left to right.
I don't think children should be heard or seen. Fuck them. No children.
You know, I saw some kid putting ketchup on his hot dog today. It really pissed me off. I killed him.
You know who I don't trust? Women. And men are on thin fucking ice!
Is it still okay to say Oriental? I can't remember.
I was sure you were going to pass on that one.
That's why I did the next one.
I'm quoting historical dialogue. It's...
Oh, I really should have read this next one, but you go ahead, Ren.
You know what? I hate clowns. Fuck them and fuck their milk. I agree with this. This is a fully unironic statement. I will downvote every clown fiction article on the site if you send it to me. I'm voting on content, so you can't get on my ass about that.
Lord Zunu's gonna love this one. I went to the soup kitchens the other day because I was a bit peckish and didn't want to buy anything. Saw a lot of Italians there. We sure do live in a society.
Harry?
Am I after Grigori? I thought you were after Grigori.
No, you're after.
No, you're after Grigori.
I'm trying to weasel out of this.
See, I'm sundowning on the sundowning thing. When I was younger, my mother used to put a thermometer in my ass. I rather enjoyed that.
Saw a man kiss another man the other day. Awful brave of him.
They say it's a bad idea, but has anyone really tried to put cocaine up their ass?
I used to kill rats with a baseball bat. Still do. Just use a cricket bat now. Wider range.
What the fuck is cricket? One of them Irish sports? See, that line doesn't even make sense in retrospect, because he's Irish.
That's how fucking mentally deteriorated he is.
Yeah.
You know those holes in the bottom of barrels? Got my schlong stuck in one of them once.
Pass.
What?
I'm not saying...
That's not even that bad. How is that a pass?
I mean,
this isn't the slang.
No, I know exactly what this means, but it sounds differently, so I don't want to say it out loud. Somebody else can read this one.
Okay, you know what? Fuck fairies. I ought to give them a whack with an iron bat if they don't shut up about being oppressed.
That one's for Ralston. I met a gay
and it's
robot
fairies
today.
Like the
cool.
Fae guys.
That one was worth saying.
Oh, I get it now.
I met a gay robot. I met a gay
I
robot.
just got it. It finally,
robot.
I figured it out now. Good. Wow. I might go back and edit that.
I met a gay robot today. Cool.
Gave Chester Williams a skull for his birthday. He didn't seem to like it. Shame. I like that skull.
It's my turn again somehow. Okay.
That's how it works.
I met this. Well, it's because I interrupted to do the gay robot. I met this stupid doctor guy. Somehow we only spoke in lowercase letters. I don't know how that works, but he does. Fuck him anyways.
Hookers don't bleed if you freeze them first.
I remember when I was one of the sea people. Got the gills and everything.
That's probably my favorite line in this. It just makes no fucking sense whatsoever. Like, the other ones are insane, but there's something you can imagine your insane grandpa saying. This one just makes no goddamn sense.
Got the gills and everything.
If you soak the bullets in whiskey, they scream longer.
Some dumbass served me thin crust the other day, said real pizza shouldn't have so much marinara. Now he don't have so much marinara in him anymore.
I love that one. I love the next one, too.
This is my favorite. Okay. I went to a threesome one time. Girl never showed up. But mama didn't raise no quitter.
Oh, I love that one.
Yes.
I love that one. I love the ongoing subtext in this.
Yes, the ongoing subtext.
Which continues.
Yeah.
Everybody always comes to tell me, hey, you see the boners in the paper today? Fine stuff, but buddy, I don't need no paper to check out some boners.
Why don't homeless people just buy a house?
Oh, God. Hey, I can wipe my own ass. Fuck off!
I had a goldfish. He's gonna live forever. I know that because he never sinks to the bottom and drowns.
So I was shooting up heroin behind the spirit. That's it. That's the end of the story.
Sorry.
It's excellent.
You know who I hate? People without eyelids. Granted, I'm usually the reason they don't have eyelids. But still.
Why don't orphans just buy a parent?
There was a petting zoo yesterday and you didn't tell me?
Listen, son, when I was your age, we didn't call a man who wanted to dress up like a coyote and have sex with another man dressed up like a bear a furry. We didn't call that man anything. That was just poker night.
I want to see if either of you can guess who wrote that one. Because it wasn't me.
I
You both know
no
them.
idea. We do.
No idea?
No.
Plague?
Nope. This is 2019. This is way before Plague.
Oh, right. Because I remember when you wrote
Sure.
this one.
It's Hippo.
Yeah, I don't know.
Is it Hippo? Hippo wrote
really?
this?
This is such a Hippo line.
Amazing.
It's really good.
Next one might be one of my favorites as well.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not gay, but a full set of human teeth is a full set of human teeth.
That's also inspired by Storm Breath, but I will tell that story later.
It actually says adult human teeth.
You kicked the wrong dick sucker.
Fuck the disabled. They're goddamn beautiful and horny as hell.
This one starts out bad, but turns out not to be, so it's okay. Saw a black man with a white woman today. The world is truly cruel. Why do the gals get all the good ones?
Do they still do full body bone replacements? My spine itches.
They call me Dick Chabelle because the whole congregation comes into worship. See,
That one works well with chapel, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And this is ROUNDERHOUSE. This is amazing. I'm really pleased because my favorite one is the one I get to read.
Yay.
This is maybe my favorite line you've written.
I have a lot of competition for that one. This one's easily top 5.
I tried to pet a cat today. It bit me. Now it lives in the river.
I don't get why people say cognito hazards are so bad. Just look away from the paper.
Hey. Psst. Hey. Guard. Want to snort some crack?
I think I might be gay.
Yeah.
The end. We read it. We did it.
Yeah. A lot of this was like, a lot of these are not by me.
Was that one that I said was one of my favorites by you? I hope it was.
Oh, those were both by me. The entire gay subtext story was mine. The cat one was mine. I think, I saw it 50% of these were mine, and the remaining 50% were just shit me and my friends batted around in voice chat, and then I slapped down into text.
Yeah, it has
and
a real
then I collected
energy.
them for a very long time, and then on April Fool's Day, I was like, psych bitches, and then I posted it.
It's beautiful.
I really like when you first get to why don't homeless people just buy a house? I'm like, oh, God. And then I always forget that a couple of lines
The other shoe drops.
Why don't orphans just buy a parent? And then it's like fucking hilarious. Which is why I lost it this time.
Yes. Oh, God, so good.
It is.
This doesn't actually align with my spirit headcanon, but it's like a fun, it's like a non-canon. That's why it's in Cat Hub instead of my shit.
Oh yeah, it is too.
Yeah.
It's definitely CAC.
Oh, what is CAC Hub?
Law
Shit
Foundation,
posts.
but after Law Foundation, and it good, but yeah.
Oh. Anyway, let's see. We've got Heartless Detective Agency, which you recommended.
This is so good.
So why don't you? I mean, first of all, it's like noir fantasy fiction.
It's like
set
Dresden
the 20s.
Files, but 80 years before Dresden Files.
Exactly. I didn't
This is
want to,
good.
but yes, absolutely. So who? I mean, I saw that the account was deleted, but who wrote this?
Hippo.
Oh,
It has
Hippo
big
deleted
Hippo
his
energy.
account?
Yeah, Hippo deleted his account when he first he joined the wiki, he wrote a bunch of stuff, he deleted the account, then he came back, and that's his current account.
Oh, I see. Well, talk about this one.
I love this one so much. It's just I love the noir fantasy, the urban fantasy mixed with the noir, detective agency vibes. I fucking love it so much. There's so many lines in this that just kick ass. The last line is probably one of my favorite lines in the wiki.
Oh, the whole thing's just one great, crazy, weird
Yeah, it's just
detective
a
mindfuck.
riotous ride, and I'm always mad he never finished this series. Which I've now
that's
realized is
half
how
of
many
my-
people feel about me.
Well, there's a lot of unfinished series, to be fair.
Yeah, but this is this series is so good.
Yeah, it's
Although,
three
I
tales
think
long and
this
they go so
specific-
fast.
This specific 3-article series is done, but the wider tale series it fits into isn't. The Dark Side Discography.
Yeah, I was
But
gonna
this
say,
is you
fairly
could read this and you
self-contained.
will have a whole narrative for you.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I would recommend reading it. It's three tales. They're
The 3 tales, they're by Hippo, so they're good.
and they're absolute just bonkers.
Yes.
Yeah, I have yet
so
to
good.
read something by Hippo that I didn't like.
There's
Yeah.
the scene where he
Wait, that's a lie, but I won't say what.
Now I'm curious.
Nope.
Probably about cannibals. Anyway, there's a scene.
Nice.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes,
You're
there's a
saying?
scene where he what's it called? I
Oh,
don't
what's it
remember. I
called?
don't know exactly
I
what
love
he
the what's
does.
it called scene.
but he like opens his like third eye or whatever, and he like it describes it as peeling back Chicago's layers, and it's like all fucked up, and like the city is made out of flesh, and there's like a heartbeat in the sky, and it's so awesome.
Yeah, there's this concept of there's multiple layers of Chicago overlaid
Yes,
on
I love
Chicago
that
where they're
so
all slightly
much.
different, and he can travel between them in order to not have the problems he's having. And
Yes.
It's like Inception. But
I would
for
not be
Chicago.
surprised if this actually was entirely like inspired by Dresden Files.
Yeah, me either.
Real good.
Although I will say that it's written much better than Dresden Files.
Yeah.
I like Dresden Files.
I
but
like
this
Dresden
is-
Files too, but this is much better.
This feels like Raymond Chandler
Mhm.
writing Wizards, which is
Well-
everything the Dresden Files wishes it was.
Yes.
the titles are all like Raymond Chandler and Dashiell Hammett.
Oh yeah, and I
titles.
don't think he ever like wrote this into the series itself. But Hippo told me when I asked, I was like, "Why is his name Heartless? Is that like just a funny pun, or does it mean something?" And he was like, "He doesn't have a heart." And I was like, "You know what? I don't know what I expected."
I mean, there's a line in here, inside of her, more of the white worms, smaller pupae, wriggle and twist inside of her guts. So, the fact that this main character doesn't have a heart, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, but it wasn't even like a poetic. He doesn't have a heart. It's like he lost his heart during World War II, and it's like he literally like he lost it. He can't find it anymore. Which I find hilarious.
It's very funny. One time in 1932, I lost my heart. Could never find it.
Yeah. It's oh god, it's such a good tale.
But a lot of times with tales on the show, I kind of just want to point people towards it, give a certain tone to it, and then not summarize it because
I respect that.
you
Yeah,
know,
you want to
it's just
direct
like a
people
narrative. You just read it. This one's very short. They're all pretty short, and like you said, it's only 3 tales. And even though the wider thing is not complete, these 3 kind of fit together in a really good.
to tell you that
narrative.
excellently. Does that have any downvotes on it? 94 without a single downvote. That's pretty. Oh, yeah, there's an
Wow.
account deleted down there somewhere. Fuck that guy.
Oh, count deleteds don't count. They're not even human.
I think I have the most account deleted downvotes I've ever seen on a single page.
Well, is that 6,000?
No, it's on Rounder page. I have like 16 of them.
Oh.
Downvotes on an author page, man.
I mean,
Yeah,
I don't.
Why?
Yeah, because my author page sucks. That's not like me denigrating it. It sucks by design.
It's the goal. Yeah.
Fully intended to suck. Every downvote I have makes me more powerful.
All right, well, we're going to move on a little bit or we'll never finish the show. So we're going to move on to Karl 33-2 or 332, the Snitch Dungeon.
Yes.
Which is by Observer September, and it was... Observer September basically just like, I'm going to make this a GUI format.
Yeah, basically.
And it's just great because it's like what the Spirit does when they want to describe a anomalous thing that they have control of. And it just is as simple. It's like the most straight. If you can imagine what a bunch of like semi-literate gangsters would do if they were going to do mobster like
Yes.
files of their magic stuff, it would just be like a where, who knows, how they made it, what they use it for, and then that's it.
Yeah, you have
It's
shit
just-
like the GOC formatted. It's like KTE Bellfather motherfucker 16-54 in the Carol is like how, who, what, why, when.
Yep.
Done. We're done. We're out.
Yep.
And it works really great because it's called the Snitch Dungeon because that's what they fucking do.
It's a
That's all it is.
snitch dungeon.
It's
It's
a
a dungeon
place,
for
it's some
snitches.
horrible nightmare place that they put snitches into.
Yes.
And like, instead of even trying to summarize it, I'm just gonna read the last note because I think it's so fucking good. And it's from Dick Chappelle. A lot of people have been asking about what happens in the Snitch Dungeons. Frankly, none of you need to know or worry about it as long as you do your job and keep your mouth shut. But I'll indulge your curiosity briefly to keep you motivated. Remember that blind guy in the picture? Imagine if he could see, and you couldn't. Now imagine if you trusted that guy to lead you around, help you get to and from your home, the works. Then one day, he decides to push you into traffic for the fun of it. That's what goes on in the dungeons. Betrayal. The snitches know what they did, and they know the lesson they're being taught in there. They scream because as soon as it looks like the nightmare is over, it starts up again. Know this, when you joined this organization, you gave more than just your life to us. You may think death is your ultimate respite when you decide you're finally had enough, and it will be, if we allow it. But if we falter or fail because of you, we can withdraw that privilege. The dungeons are your warning. I suggest you heed them.
Oh fuck me, it's so good.
It's so good.
I love
Because-
the like idea that you don't escape when you die. Like, they own your soul.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
That's a very Laundry Files kind of feel
Yes.
to it, which is a series I fucking love.
Yes.
But yeah, my favorite part, I think, about this GUI, as opposed to so many of them that have kind of a playful feel,
It's dark.
it can't. Yeah, it's not only is it dark, but it can't decide how playful it wants to be. Like, the format of this article and the fact that they're just straightforward, like who, what, where, how, is funny. And then this article and this statement by Chappelle at first starts funny, and then by the end is just, well, that's just fucked up.
Yeah, it's just, oh no, this is sad.
And I just love the shifting tones throughout, you know? I mean, even that one we just read with the funny dialogue, or the funny quotes. Like, there are parts of it that are like, oh. And then there are other parts where it's just funny. Anyway. So we've got Zeitgeist by ARD.
This is I like this tale a lot. This is the one that introduces the Spectre.
All right,
Chicago Spectre. Yeah.
You break it down.
I mean, it's just like a. It's basically just you move through the eras of the Chicago Spirit, like inspecting them as they, go from the 20s to the 60s to the 70s to like the. I guess I don't know exactly when the Chicago Spectre stuff is set, but I think it's like the 2010s, 2020s.
Yeah.
And
yeah, they come back and like, I think they start coming back in like late 90s, early 2000s, and then yeah, it's kind of set.
Yeah, you have like 1929 where it's like the traditional 20s prohibition gangster shit, and then you have a little skip forward to like post World War II. You're dealing with like Godfather era type stuff. Then you jump forward to 1989. You have like Goodfellas shit, and then you have this like cyberpunk-esque sci-fi vibe from the Spectre at the end, and it's all like portrayed as like the growing and evolving lowlifes of the Chicago Spirit. Although the Spirit in Chicago Spirit isn't capitalized, which makes me angry. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt and assume it's like a play on words or something.
Yeah, I really do like a lot of articles where they kind of catalog something over a period of time. That's why I liked Harry's, that big 2-part Significant Others one, because it keeps on kind of flashing back and forth. But this one does a great job of like setting up.
It's vignettes, basically. Just a series of vignettes.
Yeah.
Is the. And I like every single one of the vignettes is nuts too. Like the first one opens with the guy shooting a ghost, which is awesome.
Yes.
But I really like how each one of them ends on essentially the same line, but with a different year.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. I love the first one of this, the first vignette, and it just keeps getting better. It's like 2 spirits lounge on the central staircase. One of them has no head, so Jack puts 2 through its chest. Ah, such a good line.
And is this somehow in the middle of Speed Demon, his series? Because it was parented to the Speed Demon hub.
It at the end introduces Speed Demon's characters, Rukmini
Right.
and the Farhan, what's his face, and the Inside Man.
Right.
So this is like a prequel to Speed Demon, I guess.
Which is still not
that
finished, right?
makes
Pardon?
Which is still not finished, right? Speed Demon?
Nope. He tells me it's finished, and he just hasn't posted it.
Oh, okay.
There's so many goddamn good series that, I mean, shit, finishing stuff is hard, man.
Yeah, I know.
Yep.
I absolutely I completely empathize with it.
Me too. And then we've got the counter to your entire point in the Chicago Spirit, which is Black as Night Hub.
I gotta give Stormbreath a shout out because he's written way more articles for it than I have for his like interpretation of it. Which, like, I think it's a good interpretation. I just don't vibe with it personally, but it's very good. It's well written.
Oh, yeah.
Especially this, in my opinion, honestly, because it's a series that isn't Tales, but instead each one of them is a different GOI format.
Yes.
And this is all about the Mr. Knight character, kind of
Well, I
starting
guess Spirit Stories
early
is a
on.
tale.
Which one?
Spirit Stories.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, one of them's a tail.
But this kind of like covers his like different aspects of the character through different periods, but then also the fun part is this is almost always through other people's eyes. So much like Dick Chappelle, we're not really seeing, a first-hand account in most of these situations, even though sometimes, you might hear quotes from this person.
Mm-hmm.
which is good. Like, I mean, it's really an effective way to make a character kind of seem larger than life. Don't ever really break anything down for them.
The one I like the best is actually the Marshall Carter in dark format, which is unusual because I normally they always start at a handicap with me because I hate the look of the Marshall Carter in dark form. I fucking hate it. It's so ugly. Like the colors and the formatting, it's just like but it's a really good connection.
I think the favorite one here, and for me, is the GOC format, which is very out of character for me too, because I hate GOC formats. I do not like them at all. I think they're like, they take the worst elements of the SCP format and just spin them out into their own thing. That's just bad and not fun to read. But Disco Father is super fun. It's like a great ride, top to bottom, just exciting, edge of your seat. Feels like engaged, and there's so much world building at play. I love it.
Yeah, these are all really
honestly,
good.
They're all good. The fucking
they're all good.
Even the factory one, and the factory format is fucking terrible.
The factory format is so outdated and requires replacement so badly.
And the factory's a shitty GUI too. So whatever.
Hey, I like the factory.
Well, you're wrong. Anyway.
I have 2 articles that feature the factory, and they're both over 200, so you can suck my 400 nuts.
Well, we all know that rating involves
that's correct.
Quality.
Yes.
Nope. Let's talk about some of the highest rated things on the wiki. Oh wait.
Absolutely not.
We'll extend this podcast out to 3 hours.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to shit talk anything.
But I
do really think, but I'll just cut it out. But I do really like the fact that this is like.
It also helps that
all
Disco
these
Father
different
uses the superior GOC theme. Mine.
Oh, your GOC
Mine.
theme.
Yes.
No, but I mean, I really respect this sort of project. I mean, I actually don't.
It's like a restrained writing, and I respect restrained writing because it's like, no offense, but like most GUI formats on the site suck. They're not good. But like being able to tell a long scale narrative through only using these is pretty impressive.
I think that's a really shitty thing to say. Shut up.
I'm not going to say it. Shut up. Let me rephrase. I don't think most of the articles are bad. I think most of the formats, the ways they're laid out, are bad.
Yes, I agree.
Yes, most of
them they're generally just like SCP light.
Okay, cool. I was like, that's a really dick thing to say.
I like GUI formats. I think they're neat pieces of writing hampered by a bad capital F format.
I agree, actually. A lot of the formats are really rough. I mean, they're just not that
the best ones are just like tails, and it's like, this could have been a tail.
Yeah, I think we all kind of realize that out of all the possible GUI formats, the only one that will get you as much attention as an SCP is the Wilson's Wildlife one. Right. The rest of them
everyone figured that out.
Totally screwed otherwise. But Wilsons always get read because they're animals and because it looks nice.
Yeah.
And they're usually good.
I always like the UIU ones, though.
The UIU
ones are okay.
I mean, it's just tabs, but
I have no strong opinions on the UIU formats.
All right, so let's see. How fucking long have we been going on this fucking chaos?
An hour and a half.
All right, great. So let's do a lightning round.
We're into the lightning round. Oh, Don Cavatelli.
Oh, Don Cavatelli.
That's right.
Meatball Man.
SCP-5697, which is by our friend Jay Dune, and it is yet another fucking absolutely hilarious thing by Jay Dune, and I don't even really want to talk about it. I think people just need to go fucking read about the Meatball Man.
Go see the amazingly well photoshopped Meatball Man.
Which Harry made.
Oh, is that me? Oh, that's why I like it so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great little bit. It's a story about a small business owner, about restaurateur as like a profession. It's about people who can change the way their lives are going. It's about helping others. It's about a sentient meatball in a suit.
Oh, God.
Those are all accurate. Yeah. Those are 100% accurate, all those things you just said.
Yeah.
Read Jay Dune.
And then we have SCP-4256, which is by Ip and Nico, and this was part 2 of their CollabCon entry.
This one's fun. I like this one.
It's really good, but I also just thought it was funny because for the last couple episodes we didn't mention Ip, and we had for like 5 episodes in a row.
Yeah, I read the other, what's it called, the other offset of this originally, and I didn't realize it was like an offset article.
Yeah, I know.
And I was like, what the fuck?
Oh yeah,
I like it bigly.
It's very fun. And then Randy, you suggested 2680. So why don't you? What do you like about this one?
Grigori totally didn't read this one.
It dates the article to a specific time very excellently, which I think is impressive. Not just in the fact that it has like the tabs with the growth of the article over this like decades, but like the whole thing of it. It's like prohibition, and you have like the implications that the Foundation pushed for prohibition to become a thing. I like the line, I forget that, I found it. All Foundation personnel are encouraged to abstain from alcohol consumption and join the Anti-Saloon League, which are currently receiving discreet funding. And it's like, well, it is rumored that the United States government will officially outlaw alcohol. And it's like, you get a distinct sense for when this was written in universe when you're reading it, which I think is impressive in a way not a lot of articles manage to accomplish very well.
Yeah, this is a really horrible, like, disgusting, really putrid and awful thing that's happening, and then Prohibition accidentally partially solves the problem for a while, and they actually start helping the Chicago Spirit do bootlegging because they can bootleg cures for this. It's very clever.
Yeah, it's clever.
It helps show why they grow during Prohibition. They grow because the Foundation helps them because they need their help.
Yes,
to be fair, almost every organized crime organization did very, very well during the during the Prohibition, and I just did it again. Organized crime organization. God damn it!
Nice.
There's also lots of really horrible, gross cannibalism shit in this one. So I'm assuming Grigori didn't read it very closely if he read it.
Which is why I was like, Rounder, talk about it.
I looked at the outline and it says, Rounder, do you want to talk about this one? And I thought, I know why it says that.
Yep.
It's really, really, really vile, and it's very well done.
No, I started reading it and I went,
nope.
Gross. Really well done, gross.
Yes.
Anyway, SCP-3138, which is also by the Great Hippo, which is also kind of gross, but in a totally different way, and I'm just going to read a little bit of it. SCP-3138 is a phenomenon involving the insertion of human corpses into the printed work of public fiction. The work must convey a narrative capable of recognizably describing the presence of a human corpse.
I love the photo in this one.
Oh, the photo's great.
The hippos is bog bodies. If you spend any amount of time around Hippo, he will eventually talk to you about bog bodies. Hippo's just a weird fucking guy, and like I say this with all the love in the world. I love you, Hippo. You're a great dude. You're a weird fucking guy.
Yes, well.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've talked to him on Twitter a bunch, but I didn't realize
Hippo's awesome, dude. Hippo's an awesome dude. Incredibly talented writer, obviously, and just like a super knowledgeable, intelligent human being, and also a total freak, which I love.
Well, writing for
he
SCP. I mean, to be fair, we can all just assume that we're either...
Yeah, but this dude, like, there are people who write for the SCP Wiki, and that's one thing. There are people who delve into abandoned basements to take videos for their SCP article, and that's Hippo.
Yeah, I was gonna say this dovetails nicely with the like fascination with corpses and piles where they should not be. Because again, we're both talking about there is no Site 5 here, which is a great hit.
Oh no, I was talking about his Parawatch. I forget what it's called.
He's got multiple articles with videos of exploring horrible places.
Yep. Yeah, and they're like the same place.
There is no Site 5 is fucking.
There is no Site 5 is
incredible.
Very creepy, but his Parawatch, I forget what it's called, but it's like framed as like somebody in the woods like exploring tunnels beneath their workplace. Oh yeah. Which is like the real thing that happened to him in real life. So it's not even like a horror story. It's just like a thing that happened to him.
Hippo's so good at Parawatch as well, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I really like this one because it's like it plays both with Hippo's like great body horror skills and with his excellent metaphysics, meta-commentary skills. It dovetails excellently.
I love the idea of the Chicago Spirit using literature as a place to hide bodies.
Yes,
and clever. Somebody even put that in the comments that they were getting creative with corpse disposal.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a line at the end that implicates some terrible things about Chappelle. Very.
Yeah, there's a really gross, horrible one at the end there. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Gangsters.
Yep. Gangsters. Can't live with them. Can't live with them.
This doesn't fit with my gay Chappelle headcanon, but I'll accept it.
And then finally, before we get into some emails, there's Hair 23, which is the Cheshire Cat, which is by
I remember writing this.
All right.
Look, it's been a long 100 articles. Okay.
Fair enough.
A hair. We came up with that from from the last The other format, the one that, what's it called?
Carol.
Observer September came up with was called a Carol, yes, which was a
Right.
reference to Lewis Carroll. If you check the footnote for it, and we just kind of extrapolated that. We were like, okay, we're just gonna say that they name all their shit after like Alice in Wonderland crap. So we have the Cheshire Cat, obviously, and then also the hair, white hair.
Yep.
Not a very creative thing, come to think of it, but I liked it.
I
And
mean,
it was fun.
To be fair, the funnest part about both of these articles, and I'm not sure if there's many other of these GUIs, but I would like to play around with it a little bit, but is how straightforward they all are.
Yeah, and there's like
who, what, why, when.
I think one of the reasons someone commented on this article with the downvote was like, this is really stupid, because like the article has a bunch of like nicknames for other GOIs, and they're like, this is stupid, why would they call them that? And I was like, yeah, it is stupid. I have no response to that whatsoever.
They're good. They're good though. You called the foundation the Cheesers, for Christ's sake. It's
Cheesers.
funny as hell.
Yeah.
I also like the Lewis Carroll stuff because I can imagine you having some scene with Chappelle where he's just like, yeah, I don't know. I read that book once.
It's the only book I ever read.
It's the only book I ever read. I was stuck in a library preparing to mug some fucking egghead, and I just picked that off the shelf. And it's like a gangster who has this one bit of intellectualism, and he's just going to keep using it because it's the only one he's got.
Yeah.
Which makes him more of a movie character, honestly.
Yes.
With like, or like anime or something, like a very like tropey character who has this one. He just
Yes, like a Tarantino
this
character.
One, yes, exactly. He likes this one opera so much. You wouldn't expect it of this kind of guy, but he's read Lewis Carroll.
This was a series me and Nico started but never finished. Unfortunate, which you can see at the coming soon thing at the article that was last edited 217 days ago.
So many SCP articles end in that terrifying stinger of coming soon, and then you scroll down and see that it's like 2018.
Yeah.
The spookiest ending of all SCP stuff.
I know, and this is
a good article, though.
Writing on the internet.
Yes.
All right,
Yes.
so let's go ahead and read some emails and get the fuck out of here.
Hooray.
All right, so I'm going to read one that just came in, and then we'll switch to the ones that I already submitted for you guys.
That you
so this
guys
is
are
Crocat.
preparing.
Yep, we're prepared. Crocat here. I don't really have much to say about this. The fact that I'm curious about what you all talk about. I've never been too interested / curious in the Chicago spirit. And then in parentheses, he goes, "Fuck you, Rounderhouse." It was really rude.
Suck my dick.
No, he didn't.
This one isn't even in the outline. It's just like
I'm just making it up.
You didn't want him to see the "fuck you" Rounderhouse ahead of time.
I'm sorry,
I see.
Crocat. I didn't mean it.
Yeah, I made
You don't
it
have
up.
to suck
I'm
my
sorry.
dick.
With the only articles I've read that stood out to me were the Blackest Night series. And then he said, "Fuck you" again. It was crazy.
Oh my god, unbelievable.
And the excellent
Give me his email
SCP
address now.
123. No.
Beef.
I'm hoping this episode will open my eyes and push me to look deeper into this GUI. Sorry we ruined your fucking email by joking. Anyway, Harry, why don't you read this one from Randy?
Sure.
Hi,
Hello.
Randy.
Hello, how are you?
Oh, is that
I'm
a question?
fine. Yeah, it's actually
Hi,
right there.
Randy. We're cool.
Or I'm pretty good.
Yeah,
There's three of us,
pretty
though.
good.
And one, there we go. All
We
three
all
of us are
suck.
okay.
We're terrible.
Whew. I'm going to jump right to the point and say that Chicago Spirit is something that I always wanted to explore, but ended up procrastinating every single time I saw the tab open on my phone. Thank you for breaking this spell of procrastination. I am finally free.
None of us
And
are
now the
ever free,
question.
Randy. You should know this by now.
Never
I love
free.
Randy.
Yes, Randy's great. I'll follow you on Twitter. Your art is great.
And now the question. What is the worst writer's block you've ever had? The one I'm having right now. And
Yeah, I
that's
was
the
about to
answer
say, same
perpetually.
shit.
That's the answer perpetually.
You're a
Yeah.
fucking liar. You don't have writer's block right now. You've been writing thousands of words. You just haven't shown anybody.
Yeah, but it's still a perpetual haze of just days of like, I got nothing.
That's not true, actually. The worst writer's block I've ever had was like the one up until 2 or 3 weeks ago, where I straight up did not write or post anything for 4 months on the 4 or 5 months on the wiki, and then I was like, I'm just sick of this shit, and then I disappeared for a week and just posted a bunch of crap.
Yeah, that's usually how I get out of it, is I just find something unrelated to the stuff that I think I want to do, and I just fart that one out.
I just like dug into my archives and I was like, hey, this shit looks mildly postable. Slap it on.
Half the time it's stuff that everybody else has told him is excellent, and he just won't post.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because he doesn't actually trust our tastes.
Yeah, pretty much.
I was right about the fucking anglerfish, wasn't I?
Yeah, pretty much. I'm
I
still like really surprised that article did as well as
It
you
was
said
so
it was.
good.
I
was
thought
so
it was
good.
good. I didn't think it was like 200.
What number
but,
was it? What number was it?
6819.
Really good article. Read that one. It's short. It's great.
Got a Volgan reading, which I wasn't expecting.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
I had a pretty bad writer's block last year, but it didn't last that long, but it felt like it lasted forever. But the worst one I had was after I took the bar in like February 2020, because my brain was like...
Yeah, that's a pretty good reason as far as they go.
I mean, and then the
reason.
pandemic started, and then all that civil unrest happened in the demonstrations and the horrible police brutality, and it just was like 3 or 4 months of like, I didn't even want to, and I had only done 2 articles at the time, and I couldn't wait to be done with the bar so I could come back and write another article because I wanted to do another page.
That's excellent. I love that. Couldn't wait to be a lawyer so you could write for the SCP Wiki.
Well, I wasn't a lawyer right away, obviously. But after you take the bar, you have to wait like 5 months to find
really?
out it. Yep.
Damn.
But, yep.
This is not good for future Rounderhouse.
That's evil.
Everything about law school is like fucking meant to like kind of torture you a little bit. Yeah, and all lawyers would admit to that. Like, that's not a hot take.
Everything in higher education is like, well, it used to make everybody miserable, and they want to make absolutely sure it makes you miserable too.
Yep. It's like the same, like, we went through this, so you should go through
cycle of violence.
Good career
that
plan.
like took months. It took like months to get over it, and then finally, I just like forced myself to like, I can't remember how I did it, but like I just came back and then I wrote that cult one.
In my experience, just the only way to get through writer's block is just to shut up, like psychologically punch yourself in the mouth and just write.
Honestly, yeah. I mean, that sounds like we're just being like,
like obvious, but it's like
have to like sit there.
Yeah, you need to
like
shut
sit
up
in front of the screen and stop watching YouTube. Maybe turn on some music. That's fine, but stop watching stuff that's gonna make you fucking distracted and actually just fucking focus, which is hard.
Hit the keys.
I'm not going to pretend like some people don't have significant problems doing that. I'm not trying to make light of that. But if you want to write, you just gotta have to fucking sit down and do it. And it sucks, but
put one finger ahead of the other.
Yeah, I'm in a weird spot because like my ADHD meds, like what they do is they decrease motivation. But like this is like a noted thing. So like I take them and I don't want to write, and then I don't take them and I want to write, but I get distracted by like anything from loud noises to like a bird outside my window.
Yep.
So it's kind of like I just have to hit the middle and then just go straight down the middle until I can get to the finish line.
That's fair. I mean, honestly, it's why I got so into writing victim stuff, because I didn't really have to plan them out.
Fair.
They're just kind of word vomit. I don't know why anybody likes them. I just like find something that annoys the shit out of me, and then I find a way to make a funny / fucked up thing about it to talk about it and somehow relate it to media. There's the secret.
Well, I mean, the reason that helps you with the writer's block is you don't have to have like anything pre-built up in your head. You don't have to connect it to stuff you're already doing. You can just make it happen. That also makes it easier for some people to read it because they don't have to have read everything else.
Yep.
It's the same deal. Reader's block.
Yeah. And then we've got one from Gesma. Hey, Rounder, why don't you read this one?
Greetings from Gesma. Hello, Gesma. The Chicago Spirit. Now that's a neat one. I'm not a big fan of it the way I am with other GOIs, as in I'm not cheering for it or liking the characters in it, but I really like what they are. Okay. Their existence makes sense. During the Prohibition, the government outlawed alcohol distribution, so you had people profiting from illegal sales. Well, in the SCP world, the Foundation and others are basically outlawing anything anomalous, so of course there would be people profiting from paracrime, and boy, are the CS good at crime. Yes.
Good at crime.
I like how they're... Alright, that's going to be my epigraph when I die.
Good at crime.
Yes. I like how they're kind of grounded in reality. It makes what they do scarier, more messed up. Especially Chappelle. He's not some extra-dimensional nightmare, but a real human who is actively working to be one of the most feared and respected gangsters out there, and it's scary. I love it. I like how they're kind of tropey sometimes. Like heists with twists or interviews with very typical gangster dialogue. Yeah, baby! It's tropey in a good way. There's a reason why gangster movies worked and still work. I like how it's old-timey and haven't figured out how all the anomalous stuff works yet, so there's stuff like an ex-gangster whose head is a meatball teleporting prisoners to his place to have a nice chat. So overall, I think they're great. Not good role models, though. Yeah, I would be concerned if someone was role modeling this after Chappelle. Anyone except me, though.
Yep.
Alright, so I'm going to read this next one from Grigori. On the current topic, Chicago Spirit is quite high on my list of favorite GOIs, even if I haven't read that much about it. I always liked organized crime fiction, so I'm quite excited for this episode. Today I have several questions, some of which should have been part of previous episodes. Any recommendations for people who want to start reading the Wanderer's Library? Considering that Rounder is supposed to be in this episode, this ended up being a good coincidence.
Yeah, any recommendations for the Wanderer's Library?
Yes, honestly, like, we have a recommended reading list. That's what I would point most people to without knowing their specific tastes or anything. It's like a nice, solid list of, like, 5 to 10 articles that have a very clear view of, like, old site stuff, new site stuff, and etc. But in my personal opinion, what I usually recommend to, like, get people to join the site is a tale by Gafsy called The Last Will and Testament of Lyle Allen Burnley Incorporated.
Oh, God, yes. We talked about that on the...
or not Incorporated. Why the hell did I say Incorporated? I meant Heresiographer.
Incorporated.
Did we talk about that during the UIU episode? The Geos?
I brought it up extemporaneously on one of them. I can't remember which, but it was the first thing that I read on the WL because Rounder sent me to read it, and it is just incredible. Oh, it's because
I was doing a thing where I would send like Harry and like a couple other people recommendations every day. I should do that again.
Didn't we have to read his art exchange piece about Burnley that he wrote? Wasn't that in one of the GOIs that we did?
It was
what
for,
GOIs was that involved
Gafsy, but I'm not sure which.
It doesn't have a GOI tie-in, so that's kind of weird.
I'm sure that's the one we did. I'm sure that's why I brought it up.
It was the one during the French occupation in Vietnam.
Yeah,
that was Tufto's.
Yeah, it was Tufto's for Gafsy.
Oh, I got confused. I thought you were talking about my art exchange for Gafsy because it also had
that's what it was.
in it.
That's what it was. That was the stream of consciousness. We were doing the Tufto one, and then I mentioned Rounderhouse's one that was also crazy because they were both crazy requests for art exchange from Gafsy.
I like them. I think it's fun. It's like you get like a bunch of articles or requests on art exchange that are like draw something with my characters or write something with my favorite GUI, and that's fun and all. And I really respect that.
Gafsy goes challenge mode.
Yeah,
it is fun. Yes. I hope I get one of them one of these. Next question.
Okay.
I don't even know how to fucking say this.
Favorite Salaciomorpha?
Is that a shark?
Is that a shark?
I don't know.
I'm guessing it's something that's been turned into a shark?
No, it's literally just a shark.
Oh, it's really just a shark? Favorite shark?
It's the clade for sharks.
Oh, nice. Jaws 2.
Hammerhead.
I'm a goblin shark enjoyer.
Jaws 2. He's got a scar. He's real scary looking. He's got a big scar because an outboard motor exploded in his face.
Isn't it a her?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure Jaws. is a girl shark.
They're probably larger, so that's probably part of it.
Next question: do you use music while writing? If so, what kind of music do you use, and do you consider it helps on the process?
I always use music while writing. Generally, I find it very difficult to focus. I use music while doing anything. I find it very difficult to focus without music because that's just the kind of person I am. That's just the way my brain works. When I'm writing stuff, usually I just turn on one song and I set it on repeat and I listen to that song constantly for like an hour.
I do that too.
Because then I can just forget about the lyrics and it's just like sounds that my brain is filtering out.
I also use music to get myself into
Although if I'm writing something like specific, like with a very specific vibe or something, then I will use a playlist on YouTube that has music of that vibe. For example, I wrote Omni Ram while listening. Sorry, I'm sorry. I talk too much.
No, you don't. Continue.
We'll finish the sentence.
Yeah, when you were writing Omni Ram?
I listened to. There's this one person on YouTube, Cryo Chamber, who does like vibe playlists of like. certain...
yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I listened. He had one for like abandoned cities or whatever, and I listened to that shit. Cool. Like, I must have set that thing on loop and listened to it 50, 60 times in the course of writing that article.
That worked.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's a hell of an art.
Go ahead, Grigori. It's your turn.
Yeah,
sorry.
So I did. No, it's fine.
Sorry, Grigori.
You're the guest. I want you to say your things. But I do listen to music, but I can't really listen to music with lyrics. Not that I can't, but like I don't like doing that if I'm trying to focus on words.
Yeah, I can respect that.
And so I listen to a lot of instrumental stuff, but I don't listen to like fucking like classical music because I fucking hate it. So I listen to a lot of video game soundtracks and a lot of like Glitch Mob or Dance of the Dead, stuff like that. But like I think I have listened to the Bloodborne soundtrack like 500 times. Even when I'm not writing something that's like thematic with Bloodborne, it just like gets me in that place. And like I kind of like blink, and all of a sudden I have 2,000 words, and the playlist is over, and it's like, oh, what happened?
Oh god, it's almost midnight.
Yeah, we're almost done at least.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll just quickly say I always listen to music with lyrics, and I usually play it on loop the way Rounderhouse does, or sometimes play whole albums on loop, but usually something with a bit of verve and pep to it to get me excited about what I'm writing. Usually Mother actually is the band that I'm listening to when I'm writing.
Respecting the repping your country.
Yes. And also it's not ancient like most of the stuff I listen to. Yes.
I'm not familiar.
They're good.
I'll have to look them up.
So should I read the last email?
We
still got questions. We
questions,
still got
don't we?
like a billion questions. Okay, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so what's your favorite... I don't know why there's a slash there. What's your favorite...
What is your favorite / your headcanon interpretation of magic?
Yeah, that makes sense. Anyway, on the wiki, in the SCP universe. My own, which I haven't talked about yet.
Same.
Partially my own, but I really love Third Laws because it's so grounded.
Third Law is a very excellent magic
incredible. Of
yes.
course. Yeah, absolutely.
Fucking fantastic.
So sorry that was kind of a cop out, but too bad.
I do like magic interpretations that are like it sounds stupid but magical. Like they feel exotic and foreign and like a little confusing and not entirely logical, but like they have an internal logic. Like I'm thinking of like, I don't know if either of you have watched Legion, the show on FX, but it's an X-Men show. It's about the superhero Legion and like it like the whole thing it has like fights between like psychics and stuff, but it's never like a fight between like people. It's always portrayed in like a very interesting way. Like sometimes it's them singing or having like a breakdance rap battle in their heads. It's like this really cool and like very creative interpretation of it.
That's cool.
And so this last question really doesn't work because out of 3, which one is sexiest? But
it's Harry.
No, it's me.
It's Harry. It's you, the reader.
It's either Grigori or Grigori or Rounderhouse. It's one of the. I've actually seen the other two, and I can say that it's definitely one of them, not me.
I've seen Harry.
You have not.
Yes, I have.
I hope you haven't.
Picture.
It's on the Wikipedia page for Bigfoot.
Oh my god! Wow. So much lead up to such a bad joke.
It was a good joke.
No,
it was a bad joke. It's funny.
But it was like, the
like
execution was good.
joke.
It was a Harry Blank joke. And then there's a note here about, oh no, the rest of the email got shredded. Too bad. Anyway, somebody read the last email. Harry, you love saying this name.
I'll do it because I love saying Real Surreal Sir, which is my favorite name. Like Real Surreal Sir. That's just. I hope you send an email every week just so I can say your name.
Okay, you don't need to get off on it.
Real Surreal Sir. Hey, thanks for explaining the actual context and whimsical premise, which function as one, behind the SPC. It seems a lot less baffling and worth checking out now, to me personally at least. Yay. Honestly, for the second time in a row, I have a question more around GOIs in general than the specific one involved here, GOIs in general, rather than the specific one involved here, which I'm honestly not even I know enough about to have even a specific question, lol. I shouldn't have said your.
Yeah, you probably should have read it before.
I should have said sure, because that's what he meant, and I'm just being a dick, and that's not nice after I've been so nice about his name.
Gotta bounce it up.
As a newer author, who hypothetically might have an idea for a new GOI to start writing / working on, ooh, exciting, would there be any general tips y'all experienced GOI formulators / workers on might have for going about such a theoretical task?
I'm leaving the floor to Grigori for this one because I really don't have any salient advice on this topic.
Yeah, I do actually. You need to make sure that you write about them in articles where that is not the purpose. So you can't write an article for the express purpose of creating a GOI.
Right.
That's a good like general thing for canons and stuff. Like, don't write with the intention of creating a canon. Just write whatever makes you happy.
Yeah, and well, that's not even where I'm going with this, because it'll be clear that's why you're writing.
Also, it comes off as ham-fisted and awkward, and you trying to show off your cool OC in the SCP format, and it's like, just write about stuff that's interesting, and if it's cool, people will pick it up.
What you want to do is you want to have, like, in the back of your head some vague, or maybe not vague, but, kind of a list of aspects of the GOI. And then as you're writing an article about maybe something else, you can start slipping in things. Just the way that Pepper's Ghost did it about Chicago Spirit, where it's just mentioned a few times. I mean, the first Victim article wasn't even a fucking Victim article. It was, but like I didn't even know what it was yet. I just knew I wanted to do something about weird media. You've got, if you're focused on trying to create something big with one tiny article, it's going to seem like this article is just a stepping stone. And then that article will not be as good as if that article was meant to stand on its own. Now, obviously the SCP wiki is all about, flash fiction and individual articles, but like all three of us have done lots of things that are continuing narratives. But the idea, in my opinion, is to honestly set about doing an article that not only stands on its own, but like has the legs to like give you the basis for something else. But there's that difference between if it's the only purpose. If it's the only purpose to create this GOI or this canon, then not only will it seem, ham-fisted, but also it's going to feel like you're rushing through something that you could have stopped and like talked about. And then what you're telling the reader is, I didn't really care enough about this idea to talk about it in like a legitimate way. Right. And so if you feel like when you're writing it that you're trying to rush through it, the reader is going to be less invested.
Right. So. The main thing is the first time they see your new GOI, they should want to know more. If they want to know less, it means you try to go too fast and stick it all in there.
If you're doing an SCP or Tale or whatever, it should probably be an SCP. You just need to like drop their name and like the teensiest amount of details. Do not go on an exposition dump about your new GOI. No one
be
cares.
Intriguing.
No
be
offense,
intriguing.
But you are a brand new author with a brand new GOI. It's not that it isn't
You're
worth our
fighting
time.
an uphill battle, buddy.
Yeah, most people are going to say, including myself, who wants to give everyone a really good shot. My first thought is going to be like, ugh, overreaching.
Yeah, I never understood I relate to it obviously because I wanted to start a GOI when I first joined the site too. But like I never understood like what drives that to be a thing. Like everyone, whenever they join the site, they want to like create a GOI, create a canon, create a something. Like I guess maybe it's like
I didn't want to do any of that shit when I started.
I don't know. Maybe it's just
later.
Maybe it's just some people, but I guess for a lot of people, it's like wanting to create something that like I guess big that lasts on the wiki, something very notable, something other people will contribute to in the future.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely, which makes sense. I will say that like I think the reason that Victim has worked and gotten people interested is because like I waited until I had something that I really felt like would work, and that I had other people that said they wanted to contribute from the moment I talked to them about it.
Yeah, getting other people is also a big deal. Having other people who are actually
like it's not even like a piece of advice. You absolutely have to. So the way you're going to hook people in is you're going to write something that is intriguing, and if you want to be intriguing, you can't just give a dossier.
Simply write good.
Yes, but
I have faith in Real Surreal Sir that they can simply write good because they do.
I believe in you, random citizen.
They're not random to me. I believe in them specifically.
Like, be more circumspect in the details you provide the first time you mention a GUI.
Yes.
They just need to be something you kind of mention offhand, and people go, like Harry just said, people will need to walk away from it going like, wait, what's their deal?
Yeah, focus on the story that you're telling or the anomaly you're describing or whatever, and it can be created by these people or involve these people, or they can be the characters that are in it, but don't give them a giant lore dump on everything about it, because then there's no desire to learn more, because we feel like we've heard it all already.
Here's a good example. You almost certainly anyone who wants to write for the wiki has read some science fiction or read some fantasy or whatever. There's the science fiction or the fantasy that pauses the narrative to give a history lesson. And some of those work because they're classics, but most of the time you see a modern work that's doing that, it feels like some GM from a D&D campaign and just decided to write their shit down. Right. It doesn't work most of the time.
Yeah. I mean, I think sometimes, like, I'm a sucker for that kind of shit, generally speaking. Like, I know, like, as a very personal example, Sludge does that in his book, and it's fucking amazing. Well, it works so well.
You have to
Sludge
be great
is a fucking
to be
genius. I'm sorry. Like, I haven't read the book yet, but I've read other stuff by Sludge, and I have no doubt that he blew it out of the water.
It works so well, but like 9 times out of 10 for other stuff, it does not work. Which is why you have like the cliche trope of like sci-fi authors like mentioning like the boogie machine, and then they don't explain what the boogie machine is for like 70 other pages.
Yes.
Because you want to like.
You want to lead people on, basically.
Yeah, there's a fine balance. You want to like create that like trail for someone to be like, wait, what was that? I'm super interested, and then people will be more interested into learning.
If you have like a really, really, really good, engaging, interesting voice and style, you can pull off lore dumps. And that's what you're talking about with Sludge, who is Cadaver Commander on the wiki, and you're talking about his book Featherlight, which is just...
Oh, yes, it's the Featherlight transmission. Buy it on Amazon, read it, it's good.
Yeah, I think he just renamed it to just Featherlight a little while ago, got a new cover for it, and it looks splendid. And
I like the new title better.
The book is so well written and so much fun that he could just tell you the story of this guy's apartment, and you would love it.
Buy it on Amazon now.
It's such a good book.
Yes.
But yeah, if you're just starting out writing, or you're experienced but not totally experienced, you can't expect to just dump a whole bunch of information and have it be interesting. If you've got a great voice and you are able to make every sentence interesting, it's another question entirely.
It's a piece of advice I've given a lot of people over the last couple of years. You can't rush this.
Get you can't hurry love. You just have to wait.
God.
Love don't come easy. It's a game of give and take.
Shut the fuck up. Don't get us sued. No, anyway.
How long must I wait? How much more can I take?
Jesus Christ.
Miserable.
But honestly, you had to exercise this muscle. If you start right out of the gate trying to run 6 miles the first time you try to take a jog, you're gonna fucking kill yourself. And the same thing's gonna happen in writing, only the way it's gonna work is people are just gonna reject
not read your shit or download it.
So instead what you've got to be is a little more circumspect. That doesn't mean you can't be ambitious, but you need to
hold yourself
take
back
your
a little.
time.
Hold yourself back a little.
And if you have this idea that you think is fucking genius, put it in your back pocket. Don't let it go. Put it in your back pocket and write 3 or 4 articles or stories that aren't necessarily about that. You can even plant the seeds for it, but you need to get those muscles working before you.
Rome wasn't built in a day.
Exactly.
Other cliches.
Several of our GOIs are considerably worse than a significantly large city, so I'm just saying. In terms of planning.
It's true.
All right. Well, before we go, if we're going to plug Sludge's book, I also want to plug
Daveyoufool's Are we plugging stuff now?
No, I've been reading Daveyoufool's book, which is under his
if we're reading books that
God damn it, I'm not done! Is under Ned Caractus, and it's Neverstone, the Mad Elf, and it's fucking hilarious. Because we were just talking about somebody who decided to just make a GOI from scratch, and that's exactly what Daveyoufool did. And again, this book is just like his 3 Moon stuff. It's so fucking hilarious. Alright, now you can...
Are you done now?
Yeah.
Okay.
On my own podcast, yes.
Yes. It's my podcast now. I'm a guest star.
Awesome. You can edit it.
Read Quantum's book, Raw. Very good.
Uh-oh. Yeah, definitely.
Also, it's fucking read everything by Quantum. Motherfucker's a better writer than 95% of the wiki.
Or 95% of the published authors.
Yeah, that too.
Fucker.
Yeah, we hate you, Quantum.
Yeah, I mean, with love, but...
Yep,
also
with love.
Also, probably not listening, so I'm not worried.
Mostly jealousy.
I love you, Quantum. Although I just passed you in the rankings. Ergo, die.
He's over.
All right. Let's get the fuck out of here before we say something else.
All right.
All right, so email here is simplycreativepeople@gmail.com. Our Twitter is SIMCREAT. My Twitter is @Grigori Carpin.
At Harry Blank SCP.
Do I do mine?
You want to plug? I mean,
okay,
if you want
you can follow me at ROUNDERHOUSE on Twitter, on at Ko-Fi, whatever.
All right.
You can follow me at LinkedIn.
Cannoli.
Forget about it.
Forget about it.
Gabagool.
Gabagool.
Italians.